ほら、ルフィ、今一緒に海賊になる仲間を探してるんだ。
Hello guys, welcome to my channel The Wandering Zoro, your go-to destination for anime-related content. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest videos. In today's video, we're going to be diving into Part 1 of the series. So be sure to stick around until the end, and let's get started. The story takes place on an alternate Earth that closely resembles the canon My Hero Academia world, with only key differences in timeline events and character histories. Isizuku Midoriya retains the complete memories of his previous life from another timeline. UA functions as a university rather than a high school. Due to his past life experience wielding One for All, Isizuku has already mastered the quirk before entering UA. Prior to enrollment, he awakened all the quirks of One for All's previous users and learned to control them. Because he remembered his former life, Isizuku knew how to access the consciousness of the past holders. Instead of unlocking them gradually, he deliberately reached them through meditation and intensive training, communicating with and learning directly from each vestige. Lady Nagant never went to Tartarus in this timeline, as she never assassinated the president of the Hero Public Safety Commission. As a result of his past life and experiences, Isizuku is far more mature, composed, and strategic than his original counterpart. However, as Isizuku begins changing events, the future he remembers slowly starts to shift. Nijire, Lady Nagant, Ryukyu, Mirko, Mandalay, Ragdoll, Pixie Bob, Burnin, Nana before she died, Mayada and Mount Lady all flaunted fortunes that far outshone even Momo's wealth. They're super rich, wealthy, due to selling merchandise and hero income. In the original timeline, One for All second user quirk gear shift, time limit and strain. The quirk can only be used for a maximum of 5 minutes before the user, specifically Isizuku, suffers severe physical recoil. Physical incapacitation. After the time limit expires, the user becomes paralyzed or immobilized due to the extreme strain. Oxygen deprivation. Overuse prevents the user's body from receiving enough oxygen, causing them to gas out and struggle to breathe. Accumulated recoil. If used more than once without rest, the backlash is compounded, leading to intense pain and near total paralysis. Vulnerability. Despite its power, the user is vulnerable to being overwhelmed if they cannot finish the fight within the time limit. Breathing difficulty. Using gear shift makes it difficult for Deku to breathe properly because it forces his body to operate at such extreme speeds that oxygen intake becomes inefficient. Physical strain/recoil. The act of changing speed while ignoring inertia causes immense recoil, which can cause pain in his arms and legs, even in short bursts. Cellular damage. The quirk functions on a cellular level. Using it even for short periods places intense pressure on his body, similar to cellular degradation. Vulnerability. Even if he doesn't hit the 5-minute limit, the rapid, high-speed movement requires immense concentration and can leave him momentarily off balance or exposed if the attack is evaded. Vulnerability. As a quirk originally from the second user, it can be stolen or transferred to others. Can only be safely used for about 5 minutes. Causes oxygen strain and breathing difficulty. Repeated use doubles recoil damage and can nearly paralyze the user. Gear shift is a last resort. In this alternate Earth, One for All's enhanced body cancels all gear shift drawbacks, including recoil, strain, and cellular damage. Deku can use gear shift continuously for 5 minutes. Recover quickly almost equals 30 SEC, 1 minute, and even combine it with foe. One for All also boosts lung oxygen supply, eliminating oxygen deprivation, while FA Gene builds up kinetic energy faster. Enhanced body perks. Heavy arm strain, cancelled enhanced musculature perk. Nervous system fatigue, cancelled neural acceleration perk. Immense recoil from ignoring inertia, cancelled cellular reinforcement perk. Breathing difficulty, cancelled enhanced lungs perk. Cellular damage, cancelled cellular improvement perk. Limits. Time limit before recoil, 5 minutes max. Recoil recovery, 30 SEC, 1 minute. FA gene, shorter time to build up kinetic energy faster. Danger sense can detect high-speed attacks. Izuku Midoriya woke up in his room. At first, nothing felt strange. The ceiling above him was familiar, the morning light soft against his face, the quiet hum of the city drifting through the window. Morning light spilled across his blanket, warm and gentle. Everything felt normal, peaceful, safe. Then he remembered. He had already died. Cold air brushed against his skin. His breathing faltered. Where am I? The words left his mouth before he could stop them. His voice sounded younger, lighter. That wasn't right. His heart skipped. Wasn't I dead? Izuku pushed himself up from the bed, his heart still racing as he looked around the room. The blanket slid down to his lap while his eyes darted from wall to wall, trying to make sense of where he was and why everything felt so familiar. The walls, the desk, the curtains, everything looked exactly the same as he remembered. Then a voice drifted in from outside the room. A gentle voice from beyond the door. Izuku, are you up yet? He froze. Yes, Mom. Izuku answered quickly, almost tripping over his own feet as he rushed out of his room. He ran toward the kitchen, drawn by the sound of cooking, and stopped in the doorway. There she was, his mother, standing at the stove, humming softly while she made breakfast. For a moment, he could only stare. Before he could stop himself, Izuku rushed forward and threw his arms around her. Izuku? His mother gasped in surprise as he clung to her, gripping the fabric of her apron like she might disappear if he let go. She smelled the same. Warm. Safe. Real. His chest tightened. She's alive. Mom, he whispered, his voice trembling despite himself. What's wrong? She asked gently, resting a hand on his back. Izuku's eyes widened. Right? He had something he needed to do. Something important. He pulled back suddenly. Sorry, Mom. I just remembered something really important I have to do. Huh? Right now? But he was already moving. I'll be back later, he called, rushing toward the door before she could stop him. The moment he stepped outside, his expression changed. Determination replaced the shock. First, I need to find All Might. Izuku ran down the street, his heart pounding with urgency. The city looked the same as he remembered, yet somehow different, quieter, smaller, as if time had rolled back. As he passed a shop, his eyes caught the reflection in the glass. He froze. The boy staring back at him wasn't the same as the hero who had lived a full life. Younger, smaller, 16. The reality hit him like a punch to the chest. He really was 15 again. 30 minutes later, Izuku's legs ached, but he didn't. Slow down. The city streets blurred past him as he navigated alleys and familiar corners, his mind racing faster than his feet. Finally, he arrived at All Might's apartment building. The same building he had visited so many times in the past, now standing before him like a quiet promise. He paused for a moment, catching his breath, and stared up at the door. This is it. I have to explain everything. Izuku stood in front of All Might's door, his hand hovering over the doorbell. His heart thumped loudly in his chest, and his fingers trembled slightly. What if he doesn't believe me? What if I mess everything up? He swallowed hard, trying to steady his breath. After a moment that felt like an eternity, he pressed the button. The chime echoed through the quiet apartment building, and Izuku stepped back, his palms sweaty and his stomach twisting with anticipation. Izuku's hand hovered over the doorbell. His chest tightened. I could do this, I have to. He pressed it. The chime echoed loudly through the quiet building, bouncing off the walls and down the hallway. Step back. Palms sweaty. Heart racing. He waited. Nothing. Come on, please. A faint shuffle sounded from the other side of the door. Then a deep, familiar voice. Hello. Who's there? Izuku's stomach twisted. This was it. All Might. The symbol of peace himself. And he had no idea who Izuku was. No mistakes. I can't mess this up. Izuku looked up at the door, his chest still hammering. He swallowed hard, trying to steady his voice. Tashinori-sensei, he said, his words trembling slightly. Do I know you? The voice was deep, calm, but curious. Izuku froze for a moment, realizing just how strange this must sound. Izuku straightened, forcing his voice steady. "You probably don't know me," he began, "but I know you all might. And there are a lot of things I need to tell you. You might not believe me at first, but my name is Isizuku Midoriya. In my previous life, I wielded one for all. You were quirkless like me, but you got one for all." He paused, taking a deep breath. His hands trembled slightly, but he pressed on. "I know everything that happened. I can answer any question you ask. I know what you went through, the fights, the injuries, everything. And right now, you only have a few hours left of your full strength." All Might's eyes narrowed, skeptical. "How do you know all this?" Izuku met his gaze, unwavering. "Because I lived it. Every detail. I remember everything. And I'm here to make sure we don't repeat the mistakes from before." All Might's eyes lingered on Izuku for a long moment, sizing him up. The boy's gaze was steady, his expression serious. Something about him felt familiar, though All Might couldn't place it. Finally, he stepped aside. "All right, come in. We'll talk inside." Relief washed over Izuku, but his heart was still racing. He nodded quickly and stepped past him. The apartment was quiet, cozy. Familiar, yet strange without the usual trophies of a hero's life. Izuku took a careful step forward, scanning the room, storing every detail in his memory. "Make yourself comfortable," All Might said, his tone still cautious but warmer now. Izuku's chest tightened. "This is it. I have to explain everything and hope he believes me." Izuku lowered himself carefully onto the couch, his hands gripping the edges for a moment before letting go. The cushions were soft, almost too normal compared to the chaos of everything he had remembered. He took a deep breath, trying to calm the storm of thoughts swirling in his mind. All Might watched him from across the room, arms crossed, eyes sharp but patient. He straightened slightly, trying to make his voice sound calm when he spoke next. All Might's brow furrowed slightly as he leaned against the doorway, his arms crossed. "So you're the 9th user in your previous life?" Izuku nodded, his hands resting nervously on his knees. "Yes, that's right. I know it probably sounds impossible, but I remember everything." He swallowed hard, trying to steady his voice. "All the previous one for all users, their quirks, their lives, their experiences. I know it all." All Might's eyes narrowed, a flicker of doubt passing through them. "And you expect me to believe this?" Izuku took a deep breath. "I can't mess this up. I know it's hard to believe, but I can answer any question you have. I just need you to listen." All Might's eyes widened slightly, and a sharp breath escaped him. "I'm listening," he said, his deep voice steady but carrying a weight of surprise. Izuku's chest tightened. Relief and nerves collided inside him. "Okay, now I have to tell him everything, perfectly." Izuku took a deep breath, gripping the edge of the couch. His palms were sweaty, but his gaze never wavered from All Might. "I know this is going to sound impossible," he began, his voice steady despite the nerves. All Might leaned back slightly, eyebrows raised. "Go on," he said. "Okay, here goes everything. In my previous life, I was the 9th wielder of One for All," Izuku continued. "I know everything about the quirk. All the previous users, their quirks, their memories. I can talk to them, train with them, and I can use their abilities if I inherit One for All again." All Might's expression darkened with thought. "You want to wield it again?" Izuku nodded, urgency tightening his chest. "Yes, please, Tashinori-sensei. I need your guidance. I need to train properly so I can control it fully like you did. And I know it's risky, but I also know what happens if I fail." He paused, swallowing. "I know everything that will happen in the future, and I want to do it right this time." All Might studied him silently. The air between them was tense. Izuku's thoughts raced. "Please believe me, please don't dismiss this." All Might's eyes softened, a rare seriousness settling over his face. "If everything you say is true, that means you know what's going to happen. Then I trust you, young Midoriya." Relief washed over Izuku. Thank you for trusting me, Tashinori-sensei." He bowed quickly, heart pounding. All Might nodded. "We start training tomorrow. First session, Takoba Municipal Beach Park." A small smile appeared on All Might's face. It was time to start. Izuku stepped out of All Might's apartment, the afternoon sun warming his face. The streets were crowded, full of people hurrying in every direction, but none of it bothered him. His mind was too full of excitement. I can't believe it. I'm really going to start training again. He weaved through the bustling streets, keeping a steady pace, humming softly under his breath. Every so often he jumped lightly over cracks in the pavement or tapped his feet in rhythm with his thoughts. By the time he reached his own neighborhood, his energy had doubled. He was practically singing aloud, spinning around in small circles as he walked. Neighbors gave him curious looks, but Isizuku barely noticed. "I'm back," he called as he entered the house. The warm smell of dinner greeted him, and he felt his stomach rumble. After dinner, he cleared his workspace, grabbed his notebook, and opened to the next page of his hero analysis notes. Book 19. His hand moved quickly, jotting down thoughts about quirks, strategies, and the training he'd just begun planning with All Might. "This is going to be incredible. I'll make sure I get stronger." No mistakes this time. He hummed again, barely able to contain his excitement as ideas spilled onto the pages. Sleep would wait tonight. There was too much to think about, too much to plan. After hours of humming, jotting down notes, and planning every detail of his training, Isizuku finally stretched and rubbed his tired eyes. The house was quiet now, the sounds of the city outside fading into a soft hum. He climbed into bed, pulling the blankets up to his chin. Tomorrow, training begins. I have to be ready. His eyelids grew heavy, but a small smile lingered on his face. Excitement and anticipation buzzed through him like electricity. Slowly, the world faded. He drifted off to sleep, dreams already filled with one for all, training, and all the adventures yet to come. The sunlight poured through the window, warm and bright, waking Isizuku before his alarm even had a chance. He shot upright in bed, heart racing. Today's the day. Training begins. He swung his legs over the side of the bed and stood, stretching every muscle. The memories of yesterday, All Might's trust, the plans for one for all still buzzed in his mind. A grin spread across his face. I can't waste a single second. Isizuku practically bolted into the kitchen, eyes wide with excitement. Plates, utensils, and food all blurred past him as he reached the table. "Slow down, Isizuku," his mother said, a small smile tugging at her lips. "You're going to choke if you rush like that." "I know. I can't waste time," he replied, barely pausing to grab his fork. He dug into breakfast with gusto, thoughts already racing ahead to the beach park and his first training session with All Might. "I need to be ready. I can't mess this up." Inko watched him carefully, shaking her head slightly. "You're way too excited for someone who hasn't even started training yet." Isizuku laughed between bites. "I know, Mom, but today is going to change everything." Breakfast finished, Isizuku jumped up from the table, leaving his untouched cup of juice behind. No time to waste. He dashed out the door, the morning air cool against his face as he ran through the streets. Crowds of people bustled past him, but he barely noticed, too focused on what awaited him at Takoba Beach Park. "I know exactly what's going to happen today. I just have to make sure I do everything right this time." The sun glinted off the ocean as he approached the familiar sand and waves. The beach was quiet, save for the distant sound of gulls and the gentle crash of the surf. And there, waiting for him, stood All Might, towering, calm, yet radiating the same energy that always made Isizuku feel both nervous and inspired. "You made it," All Might said, voice steady. Izuku's grin widened. "Yes, sir. I'm ready, Tashinori-sensei. This is it, the start of my training, the start of everything." All Might handed Isizuku a neatly folded sheet of paper. "This is your training schedule," he said, his voice serious. "It's rigorous. I expect you to follow it exactly." Isizuku unfolded the paper, scanning it quickly. His eyes widened. "Wow, this is intense." "And this," All Might continued, handing him a second sheet, "is your diet plan. Proper nutrition is just as important as training. No shortcuts." Izuku's hands trembled slightly as he held the sheets. "Yes, sir. I'll follow it to the letter. I knew it would be tough, but this is more than I expected." All Might nodded, a small smile breaking through his stern expression. "Good. I know you can handle it, Midoriya. But remember, you also need rest and focus. Don't push yourself too far too fast." Isizuku swallowed hard, determination blazing in his eyes. I won't fail. Not this time. Izuku's training schedule, Takoba Beach Park. Time activity notes. 6 to 6:30 warm-up / stretching light, jogging along the beach, full body stretches. 6:30 to 7:30 strength training push-ups, pull-ups, weighted exercises, track progress. 7:30 to 8 o'clock core and agility planks, sit-ups, sand sprints, balance drills. 8 to 8:30 break / hydration water, light snack if needed. 8:30 to 10 o'clock combat, training sparring with All Might. Focus on quirkless tactics first. 10 to 10:30 recovery and stretching cool down, prevent injuries. 10:30 to 11 o'clock analysis / notes record progress. Write observations and hero analysis notes. 11 to 11:30 special, training mental exercises, strategizing, plan next moves. Izuku's diet plan. Meal foods / notes. Breakfast high-protein oatmeal, eggs, fruit, milk. Snack nuts, protein bar, water. Lunch grilled chicken or fish, vegetables, rice. Snack fruit, smoothie, hydration. Dinner lean meat, vegetables, complex carbs. Snack yogurt, nuts, hydration. Izuku scanned the sheets All Might handed him. His eyes widened as he realized just how intense this would be. No shortcuts, got it. Izuku stepped onto the sand, toes sinking slightly with each step. The morning sun glinted off the waves, and a gentle breeze ruffled his hair. His heart pounded with anticipation. All right, Midoriya, All Might said, voice booming as always. First exercise, endurance running. Keep your form, pace yourself, and focus on control. Izuku nodded, fists clenched. I know exactly how this goes. I can do this. He started running along the beach, sand crunching under his feet. Every stride was measured, precise. His previous experience with One for All allowed him to push past natural limits. But he forced himself to hold back, remembering All Might's advice. The wind whipped past his face. Faster, faster, but steady. All Might jogged beside him, a constant reminder of the pace he needed to maintain. Good, Midoriya. Keep it controlled. Don't waste energy. Izuku's legs burned, sweat trickled down his forehead, but he gritted his teeth. I can do this. I will do this. He ran, mind focused, anticipation of the rest of the training fueling every step. By the time he slowed to a jog, his legs were already burning. Sweat dripped down his face, mixing with the salt from the sea breeze. Now sand sprints. All Might commanded. His voice was firm but encouraging. Izuku crouched into the starting position, toes digging into the soft sand. Okay, this is where endurance and technique matter. He lunged forward, sand flying behind him with each explosive step. His muscles screamed, but his memory of previous training kicked in. He adjusted his posture, leaning slightly forward, keeping his arms pumping efficiently. Breathe. Push. Focus. All Might jogged beside him, keeping pace effortlessly. Good. Keep your form. Don't waste energy. After several sprints, Izuku dropped to the sand, chest heaving. He wiped sweat from his eyes and forced himself to keep going. Next, strength training, All Might said. Push-ups, pull-ups, and core exercises. Precision and control are more important than raw power. Izuku set himself down for push-ups, remembering every detail from his previous life. I know how far I can push without hurting myself, but I need to get stronger than before. Each repetition burned, but he gritted his teeth, muscles screaming. He moved with perfect form, imagining All Might beside him correcting every tiny mistake. Excellent, Midoriya, All Might called. You're pacing yourself well, but don't let the pain stop you. This is about growth, not just strength. Izuku nodded, swallowing the burn in his arms. I won't fail. Not today. Not ever. Days passed in a blur. Every morning, Izuku woke before dawn, raced through breakfast, and sprinted to Takoba Beach Park. Running, push-ups, sand sprints, core training, combat drills, over and over again. Every day, stronger. Every day, faster. Every day, closer to perfect control. By noon, his muscles ached and sweat soaked through his clothes. By afternoon, he was scribbling furiously in his hero analysis notes, recording every detail of his performance, every correction All Might gave him. All Might's booming voice was a constant reminder. Form first, Midoriya. Precision beats raw power. And every day Izuku listened. Every day, he pushed harder. Every day, he remembered exactly what had happened in his previous life and refused to repeat past mistakes. Nights came and went in a haze of exhaustion, planning, and preparation. Tomorrow we go further. Tomorrow I'll be stronger. The routine became a rhythm. The sand, the waves, the sun, all a constant backdrop to his relentless training. And Izuku thrived in it. Every repetition, every sprint, every note written in his notebook brought him closer to the hero he knew he could become. Weeks of running, sprints, push-ups, and endless notes blur together, but Izuku felt himself changing. His body was stronger. His mind sharper. Every movement more precise, every thought more focused. I can feel it, I'm finally getting there. He stood at the edge of the beach, watching the sun sink into the horizon. The waves crashed rhythmically, a reminder that time moved forward and so must he. All Might's voice broke through his thoughts. Good work today, Midoriya. Rest while tomorrow will be even tougher. Izuku nodded, determination blazing in his eyes. Yes, sir. I won't waste a single moment. As he walked home, muscles aching but heart full, he felt the familiar thrill of anticipation for what lay ahead. This is only the beginning. The real test is still to come. A year had passed since Izuku had begun his relentless training at Takoba Beach Park. His muscles were stronger, his stamina unshakable, and yet mornings with All Might still had their surprises. Midoriya, All Might called, his grin impossibly wide. Breakfast is ready. Izuku jogged into the kitchen, expecting the usual hearty meal, the careful nutrition plan they'd been following for months. Instead, All Might held something between his fingers, a small, shiny object, and said with mock seriousness, "Eat this." Izuku froze and chuckled. He remembered this scene. Oh man, not again. After seeing Izuku's reaction, All Might responds. You know the drill. Izuku replied. All right then. 1 hour later. An hour had passed since the unusual food. Izuku wiped his hands on his pants and faced All Might, determination blazing in his eyes. Time to show him what I can do. Toshinori-sensei, Izuku said, voice steady, I want to show you something I've been practicing. All Might raised an eyebrow, curiosity sparking in his expression. Oh, and what would that be, Midoriya? Izuku took a deep breath, feet planted firmly on the floor. Here goes everything. 1 for all, full cowling. 15%. A faint shimmer of green energy flickered across his body. His muscles tensed, electricity crackling subtly along his limbs. The aura of power radiated outward, controlled, precise. Full cowling? All Might said, leaning forward, voice a mix of surprise and caution. Prepare and remember control. Izuku nodded, narrowing his eyes, and focused every bit of power he could muster. Sparks danced along his arms as his speed and strength surged. He moved forward in a quick series of punches and dodges, each movement fluid, perfect, and calculated. All Might's jaw dropped. Midoriya, this control and the precision, I've never seen anything like it at this age. Izuku grinned, a little nervous but thrilled. I remember everything, I know how this feels, and I can use it safely. And this is just the beginning, he thought, already planning his next moves in his head. Izuku stepped back slightly, letting the glow of full cowl fade. His chest heaved, but his eyes were sharp, focused. I can handle the power, but my body isn't fully adapted yet. I need help. Toshinori-sensei, he said, voice steady but respectful. I need to ask you something. All Might tilted his head, curious. Go on, Midoriya. Can you find Grand Torino for me? Izuku asked, his gaze unwavering. I want his guidance on speed training. My body is new. I can handle the quirk, but I can't adapt fully on my own. I know what to do, but I need him to help me safely increase my speed. All Might's eyes widened, a mix of surprise and approval in his gaze. You're thinking ahead. I see. And you want his help because you know he can train you faster and safer than I can at this stage? Izuku nodded firmly. Exactly. I don't want to overstrain my body or make mistakes. I need the right guidance. All Might's expression softened into a proud smile. Very well, Midoriya. If this is what you need, I'll reach out to him. You're showing maturity beyond your years planning, strategy, and respect for your own limits. That's exactly the kind of hero I knew you could become. Izuku felt a rush of relief and determination. 3 hours later. 3 hours later, All Might arrived at Gran Torino's apartment, a determined stride in his step. The small, cluttered space smelled faintly of old training equipment and motor oil, just as Izuku had described from stories of his previous life. Torino, All Might called, his booming voice echoing off the walls. I need your help with Midoriya. The old hero peeked out from behind a stack of boxes, eyebrows raised. All Might, what's going on? All Might took a deep breath, lowering his voice slightly. It's complicated. Izuku Midoriya, he's been training for a year, and he's already far stronger than before. But there's more. He knows things about One for All, about the previous users, about everything that happened in his previous life. Gran Torino blinked, confused. Wait, what are you saying? Previous life? He remembers? All Might nodded, pacing slightly. Yes, he's back with all that knowledge. He's mastered One for All at 15% full cowling already, but his body is still adapting. I want you to help him with speed training safely, effectively, so he can handle the quirk without injuring himself. Gran Torino scratched his chin, eyebrows furrowed. HM, that's a lot. But if what you say is true, he's remarkable. And you want me to push him further? All Might's eyes softened, a reassuring smile appearing. He's nervous, Torino, but I've been with him from the start. He's ready, and I'll be there to guide him. He won't be alone. Gran Torino leaned back, a sly smile forming. Sounds like he's not your average student. All right, show me this Midoriya. Let's see if he can handle what you've been bragging about. All Might's chest swelled with pride. You won't regret it, Torino. This kid, he's different. He's ready for the next step. 1 hour later, the sun hung high over Takoba Beach Park, waves crashing rhythmically against the sand. The familiar scent of salt and sea filled the air. Izuku's heart pounded, anticipation buzzing through him like electricity. Gran Torino stood at the edge of the beach, arms crossed, eyes sharp and calculating. So, you're the famous Midoriya, huh? Heard a lot about you from All Might. Izuku bowed respectfully. Yes, sir. Thank you for helping me with my speed training. Torino smirked. Speed training, huh? Let's see if you can keep up. I practiced this a year already. I just need to push safely. Izuku thought. My body isn't fully adapted yet, but I know the movements. All right, Midoriya, Torino said, clapping his hands once. We start simple. Sprints. Sand is tricky. Your footing matters. Use your quirk carefully. Izuku nodded, toes digging into the sand. His muscles tensed. Electricity tingled faintly along his arms. Veins along his body subtly glowing red as he activated One for All. One for All. Full cowling 15%. He shouted. Steady focus on control, not just speed. He lunged forward, sand spraying with each step. Red veins traced over his arms and shoulders, pulsing with energy. Torino moved lightly beside him, forcing Izuku to adjust constantly. Good. Keep your form. Faster, but don't overextend. Torino shouted. Izuku's legs burned, heart racing, sweat dripping into his eyes. But his movements were precise, honed from a year of training and the memories of his previous life guiding every step. I can do this, I will master this. All Might stood a little way off, arms crossed, watching with a proud smile. He's learning faster than even I expected. He crouched into a sprinting stance, muscles tensed, and exploded forward. Sand flew behind him with each step, his feet barely sinking as he focused on form and balance. Good, Torino shouted. That's a start. Now again, but faster. Use your arms. Lean your body. Don't waste energy. Izuku gritted his teeth, focusing every ounce of knowledge from his previous life. He adjusted his stride mid-run, leaned slightly forward, and pumped his arms in perfect rhythm. Yes, just like before, feel the ground, control every step. Sweat dripped down his forehead, mixing with salt and sand, but he didn't stop. He repeated the sprints, each one sharper, smoother, faster. Torino's voice was a constant guide. Faster. Focus. Don't let the power control you, you control it. Izuku's legs burned, lungs screaming, but he forced himself to maintain full cowl at 5%, electricity flickering faintly along his limbs. I can do this. I know how it feels. I won't overdo it, but I'll push as far as I can. After several grueling sets, Torino nodded, approving but serious. Better. Much better. But this isn't just about running fast. It's about adapting your body, reflexes, and perception. You're getting there, Midoriya, but there's still more work ahead. Izuku paused, chest heaving, but a grin spread across his face. Yes, sir. I understand. I'll keep pushing. All Might watched from the side, pride shining in his eyes. He's learning faster than I ever expected. That boy is going to surpass everything we've seen before. Izuku's legs burned, lungs screaming, but he refused to slow down. Grand Torino darted across the sand with lightning speed, but Izuku's body moved with purpose, remembering every technique he'd practiced. Full cowling 20%. Izuku shouted, muscles tensing as the green aura of energy flared along his limbs. Sparks of electricity danced across his arms and legs. His movements were faster, sharper, almost too fast to see clearly. Torino's eyes widened as Izuku closed the distance in mere seconds. Full cowling 20%. Izuku yelled again, leaping forward, sand exploding beneath his feet. I can do this, I can catch him. And then in one fluid motion, Izuku grabbed Grand Torino's shoulder, stopping him dead in his tracks. Caught you, Torino-sensei, Izuku panted, grin wide despite the sweat streaming down his face. Grand Torino blinked, surprised and amused. And not bad, kid. Not bad at all. All Might's jaw dropped. Weight full, cowling 20%. That's incredible. Izuku's eyes lit up. It's working the control, the speed. I remember exactly how to push it safely. And this he muttered under his breath, adjusting his stance slightly. Electricity, still flickering along his limbs, is just the beginning. After 2 hours training, the sun dipped low over Takoba Beach, casting long shadows across the sand. Izuku wiped sweat from his brow and stretched, muscles sore but satisfied. That's enough for today. He waved to Grand Torino, who nodded with a small, approving smile. Good work, Midoriya. Rest well, tomorrow we go further. Izuku grinned and started jogging back home, sand crunching beneath his feet. His body ached in all the right places, but his heart felt light. He hummed quietly to himself, excitement still buzzing from the day's progress. The streets were quieter now, the city winding down for the evening. Izuku weaved through the remaining pedestrians, his mind already replaying the day's exercises and planning improvements for tomorrow. Back home, the smell of dinner greeted him. He devoured it quickly, energy returning as he recounted the day to himself in his head. Full cowling 10%, caught Torino, yes. That's progress. Plates cleared, notes set aside. Izuku climbed into bed. His muscles screamed in protest, but a satisfied smile lingered on his face. Tomorrow, even faster, even stronger. Slowly, his eyelids grew heavy, the sounds of the city fading into a gentle hum. He drifted off to sleep, dreams already filled with speed drills, electricity, and the next steps of his journey. In bed, as Izuku drifted into sleep, his mind didn't rest. Instead, a soft glow filled his vision, and one by one, the previous users of One for All appeared before him. This is real. His heart raced, excitement and disbelief warring inside him. A figure stepped forward, tall and composed. So you are the ninth, the previous user said, voice calm but sharp. You've inherited everything? Izuku swallowed hard, nodding. Yes, I remember everything from my previous life. I know how to use One for All fully. I don't need someone to teach me, I already know. Another predecessor raised an eyebrow. You expect us to believe this? That you remember all our experiences? Izuku's hands clenched. I have to make them understand. I know it sounds impossible, he said, voice steady but urgent. but I've lived it before. I've experienced everything you've gone through. I can ask to use your quirks, and I can handle them safely. I just need your guidance if there's something I can't do alone. The previous users exchanged skeptical glances. Even so, claiming to remember all of this, that's a bold statement for a young boy, one muttered. Izuku's chest tightened. I'm not lying. I swear I've experienced it. I know how to control it, how to combine it, how to communicate with each of you. You don't have to teach me basics, just help me refine it. The glow of the one for all predecessors surrounded Izuku like a gentle storm. He took a deep breath, heart pounding. It's time I need to talk to all of them at once. First, Nana, Yoichi Daigoro, he began, voice trembling slightly, but growing steadier with each name. Shota Hikage Indigo. The figures froze. Eyes widened, brows furrowed. They're shocked they didn't think I could know all their names. And Tashinori, he said last, his gaze locking with All Might's ghostly presence among them. I know you all. I remember everything you went through. I know your quirks. I can communicate with you. I can use your powers. A stunned silence filled the ethereal space. One of the predecessors whispered, almost in disbelief. He knows our names, all of them. Izuku's hands clenched tightly. I'm not lying. I've lived it all before. I know what it's like to carry one for all. I know the struggles, the victories, the losses. I just need your help to refine it in this life. Another predecessor shook their head slowly. Impossible, a child claiming to know everything about us? Izuku's green aura flickered faintly, electricity tracing along his limbs. I know it sounds impossible, but it's true. Ask me anything I can answer. This is it, I just need them to trust me enough to help. A soft glow surrounded Izuku, the ethereal forms of the one for all predecessors hovering around him. The first figure stepped forward tall, calm, with a faint smile. I can tell you're not lying, Nana said, her voice gentle but firm. You remember everything. You've lived it. We will help you, Ninth. Izuku's heart skipped a beat. They believe me, they actually believe me. Another predecessor, Yoichi, nodded. You've carried our struggles before. Your resolve is true. We will guide you, Ninth. Trust in yourself as we trust in you. The glowing area around him began to fade slightly, the surroundings blurring like mist. Daigoro's voice echoed softly. It's almost time to return. Remember, Ninth, choose wisely when calling upon us. Start with the first Nana, or Yoichi, or whichever you need. Your path is yours to control, but we will meet again. Hikage added, a faint chuckle in his tone. Do not fear, Ninth. We will always be with you, even if only in spirit. You know what must be done. Un's voice came next, firm but encouraging. Time to wake, Ninth. This life awaits. Learn, train, and grow. We will see you again. Daigo's tone followed, almost solemn. Do not forget us. Your choices, your strength, they are the continuation of our will. Izuku's eyes widened, on gratitude mixing together. I won't forget, I'll make all of you proud. The glow dimmed further, voices fading like a gentle whisper. Wake up, Ninth, the real journey begins. We will meet again. Slowly, Izuku's eyelids fluttered open. The familiar ceiling of his room greeted him, the morning sunlight spilling across the floor. He sat up, pulse racing, adrenaline still thrumming through him. That was real. They believe me, and they're willing to help. A grin spread across his face. All right, time to train even harder. The morning light spilled into Izuku's room, painting the walls in soft gold. He blinked, still half lost in the remnants of his dream. That was real. They believe me, they're willing to help. His body tingled faintly, energy coursing through his veins in a way it hadn't before. Something feels different. He swung his legs over the bed and rubbed his eyes. Before he could even process it, the door creaked open. Mom? He called, voice a little shaky. Inko poked her head inside, concern etched across her face. Izuku, who is this? Why did you rush out of bed so early? Without thinking, Izuku leapt from the room and dashed toward the door. Tashinori-sensei, he called, voice loud and urgent. Inko's eyes widened as she saw him running past, thin frame silhouetted in the sunlight. Izuku, are you all right? Why are you out in the hallway? You're so skinny, her voice trailed off as she noticed All Might stepping forward. All Might gave her a calm smile, his presence reassuring. She's concerned, young Midoriya. It's natural. I should explain. Izuku paused briefly, cheeks flushing, nervous energy crackling through him. Mom's going to see me like this, what do I say? Inko, All Might began, voice gentle. He's been training. Intensive training. Preparing to become the successor of me. Inko's eyes widened. The #1 hero successor? But why is he so skinny? What is he doing to himself? Izuku swallowed, shifting nervously from foot to foot. I've been training to control one for all safely. I know it's dangerous if I don't handle it properly. He paused, unsure how to explain everything without overwhelming her. All Might placed a reassuring hand on Izuku's shoulder. He's strong, but he needs time to adapt to the power fully. He's aware of the risks, but this is his path. Trust him. Inko's expression softened, worry still lingering. I want you to be safe, Izuku. You know that, right? Izuku's heart thumped. Mom, I'll make her proud. I have to. I know, Mom, he said quietly, determination shining in his eyes. I'll be careful, but I need to train. I have to become strong enough to protect everyone, just like All Might. Inko hesitated, then gave a small nod. All right, I trust you, Izuku, but promise me you'll take care of yourself. Izuku grinned, feeling a mix of nervousness and relief. Okay, time to get stronger. Really stronger this time. After leaving the apartment, Izuku and All Might stepped out of the apartment building, the morning air crisp and quiet. For a moment, it felt normal calm even. Then a thunderous boom shattered the stillness. Explosion? Izuku's heart raced, eyes widening. He didn't need to ask. Instinct already propelled him forward. Tashinori-sensei. He called, voice urgent. Something's happening near the city. All Might's eyes narrowed, the air around him seeming to shift. Understood, young Midoriya. Stay close. They sprinted through the crowded streets, people scattering in panic. Smoke curled into the sky, black and ominous. The sound of sirens pierced the air. In an instant, All Might's body shifted. Muscles bulged, aura flaring the familiar buff, heroic form. His voice boomed with authority, steady and commanding. Time to see what's happening. Move back, civilians. Izuku stood in the crowd for a moment, heart pounding, taking it all in. He could feel the raw power radiating from All Might, every fiber of his being resonating with the aura of a hero. He's incredible, still more incredible than ever. The smoke cleared slightly, revealing crumbled buildings and chaos spreading through the streets. People shouted, cars honked, and somewhere in the distance, cries for help pierced the noise. This is bad, Izuku muttered under his breath, fists tightening. I need to help. I need to do something. All Might's eyes scanned the scene, focusing on the epicenter of the destruction. Young Midoriya, stay safe. Observe first. Act when the opportunity is right. This is your training as much as it is my duty. Izuku nodded, adrenaline surging. This is my chance to apply everything I've learned. Time to see if I'm ready. Izuku pushed through the crowd, eyes scanning the chaos. Smoke billowed from a collapsed building, civilians screaming for help. And then he saw them, the big three of Class 3A, already in action. Mirio, Nijire, and Tamaki moving like a storm, each using their quirks with precision and power. Mirio's body flashed in and out of phase. Nijire's energy waves radiated from her hands, and Tamaki Izuku barely had time to register, was manipulating gravity around debris, keeping it from falling on civilians. Class 3A and 3B, wait, no, it is 2A and 2B. Since I haven't went to UA? So they're already here, Izuku muttered, all mixing with calculation. I haven't even entered UA yet, and they're handling this like pros. And their Ryukyu and Rumi were hovering above the wreckage. Ryukyu's dragon wings slicing through the air, Rumi coordinating evacuation efforts with pinpoint accuracy. Izuku squinted, focusing on the villain at the center. A swirling mass of shadows and metallic shards surrounded him, a quirk he had never seen before. What kind of power is that? All Might's voice boomed beside him. That villain's quirk is dangerous, Midoriya. He can manipulate metal in both offensive and defensive forms. It's almost like he's a walking fortress. The villain swung a metal arm toward a collapsing streetlight. Mirio phased through it and slammed into the villain's side. Nijire shot a wave of energy to knock him off balance. Ryukyu swooped down, aiming a crushing blow from above. Izuku's heart raced. This is insane, so many quirks at once. And I haven't even shown my full cowl yet. He clenched his fists, green sparks flickering faintly, and red vein appear along his limbs. I have to do something I can't just watch. Screams filled the streets as the villain hurled car after car at the terrified crowd. Metal twisted and glass shattered, chaos erupting around them. No, I can't just watch. Izuku's heart pounded. I need to do something. One for all, full cowling 20%. He shouted, green aura flaring violently, electricity arcing across his limbs. Red veins pulsed along his face and arms, his body radiating raw power. He surged forward, legs pumping at impossible speed. The cars hurtled toward the civilians, but Izuku's eyes narrowed. I remember the 5th user Black Whip. I can use it. Energy coalesced around his arms, dark green and black tendrils forming in the air. Black Whip now. The black, glowing whips shot forward, lashing out with precision. They wrapped around multiple cars at once, yanking them midair and sending them safely aside. Civilians gasped, stumbling back but unharmed. Who is this kid? Someone in the crowd murmured, eyes wide. All Might stepped forward, eyes wide in shock. What is that? Nijire's jaw dropped. Mirio's eyes widened, and Tamaki whispered under his breath, "But that's a teenager boy." Other heroes arriving on the scene froze, staring in disbelief. He's handling multiple cars with some kind of black whip? Izuku gritted his teeth, pulling back the whips and yanking another car away from the crowd. Sparks of green electricity danced along the black tendrils, their darkness streaked with flickers of green energy. It's working, I can control it, I can save them. All Might's eyes were wide, voice booming. Young Midoriya, what is this black tendrils? Izuku panted, adrenaline surging. 5th user, Black Whip. The crowd behind them began murmuring excitedly, pointing and whispering. Who is this hero? He's amazing. Izuku's grip on the whips tightened. I won't let anyone get hurt. Not today. Not ever. Sparks and dark energy flared as the whips lashed again, deflecting another car midair. Heroes and civilians alike stared in awe, disbelief written across their faces. With the last car safely tossed aside by his black whip, Izuku's chest heaved, sweat dripping down his face. Sparks of green electricity danced along the dark tendrils, the aura around him crackling with power. Time to finish this, he thought, eyes locking on the villain, causing chaos. One for all, full cowling 20%. He shouted again, green electricity surging across his body. The air seemed to hum with energy as he launched forward, lightning fast. Civilians scrambled back, but no one was hurt. Izuku's precision flawless. Now Detroit Smash. 20%. Detroit Smash. He bellowed, red veins pulsing along his arms as his fist connected with the villain. A shock wave erupted, sending debris flying and knocking the villain off balance. The crowd gasped, murmurs spreading like wildfire. Who is that kid? Nijire's eyes widened, Mirio's jaw dropped, and Tamaki's mouth hung open. What's going on? Is that some quirk we've never seen? Izuku gritted his teeth, fists trembling with adrenaline. I can do this, I can protect them all. Sparks and green-black energy lingered in the air as the villain struggled to recover, while Izuku stood ready, every muscle coiled, every sense sharp. I won't let you hurt anyone else. Not today, he shouted, determination blazing in his eyes. The villain was sent tumbling back, stunned and struggling to regain balance. All Might's heroic form flared as he landed firmly in front of him, voice booming across the chaotic streets. I will handle this from here. All Might declared, don't worry, because I am here. Muscles bulging, aura blazing. The villain froze, recognizing the sheer presence of the #1 hero. Izuku stepped back into the crowd, breathing heavily, heart still racing from the adrenaline. Sparks of dark green-black energy still flickered faintly along his arms, though he kept them subtle. People whispered and pointed, staring at him in awe, but none could make sense of what they had just witnessed. "Hey, wait a second," a voice called out. Izuku turned to see Nijire, eyes wide and sparkling with excitement. She jogged up, a grin plastered across her face. "You're so cool. That was amazing. What's your name?" Izuku froze, cheeks flushing faintly. "Cool? Do they really think I'm just a regular kid?" "I'm Midoriya. Izuku Midoriya," he said quietly, voice almost shy, though his pulse was still racing. Nijire tilted her head, a playful smile tugging at her lips. "Midoriya, huh? I'm Nijire Hato." "Seriously, that was incredible. I've never seen anyone move like that." Izuku scratched the back of his neck, trying to act casual. "Thanks," he muttered, a small grin forming. "I just did what I had to." All Might finished subduing the villain, turning back toward the streets with his usual authoritative flair. "Stay back, everyone. Civilians, remain safe." "Midoriya, good work observing." Izuku nodded slightly, trying to calm his racing heart, but inside, excitement still pulsed. This is only the beginning. I can't wait to get stronger." With the villain now restrained and the streets gradually calming, All Might turned back to Izuku, his face serious but gentle. "Midoriya," he said, stepping closer. "Your observation and quick thinking impressive. You got great instincts. Keep training like that, and you'll go far." Izuku bowed slightly, chest still racing. "Thank you, sir." Nijire bounced up beside him, curiosity written all over her face. "Hey, that was amazing. How did you move like that? Are you a hero in training? Or something else?" Izuku's cheeks flushed. "I can't tell her about one for all yet. I just reacted instinctively. I'm still learning." She tilted her head, eyes sparkling. "Still learning? You were incredible. Who taught you that?" Ryukyu and Rumi approached from the crowd, their expressions curious but friendly. "Young kid," Ryukyu said, voice calm. "You moved with precision I haven't seen in a beginner. Are you from UA? Or somewhere else?" Izuku replied, "I am not from UA." Rumi added, smiling softly, "We didn't expect someone your age to handle things so well. How did you manage?" Izuku swallowed, trying to keep his excitement in check. "If I tell them, they'll know about my quirks too soon. I just focused on the civilians first," he said carefully. "It's what any hero would do." Nijire leaned closer, grinning mischievously. "So can I ask something a little personal?" Izuku froze slightly. "Oh, what now?" "Your phone number," she said, eyes sparkling, tilting her head playfully. "I want to keep in touch with the amazing Midoriya. You're too cool to just vanish after today." Izuku's face turned crimson. "Phone number? Now." He scratched the back of his neck nervously. Maybe he stammered, trying to act casual while internally panicking. "Okay, stay calm. You can't embarrass yourself in front of Nijire and all the heroes." All Might's voice cut through the excited chatter. "Young Midoriya, we have to go. The situation isn't fully under control yet." Izuku's heart thumped, half from adrenaline, half from the lingering blush from Nijire's question. "Yes, sir," he called, taking a deep breath. Nijire reached out, trying to follow him. "Wait, don't leave me. I want to watch you." "Nijire." Mirio swooped in, gently but firmly grabbing her arm. "Come on, Nijire. Let him go. He's busy." "Hey," but she protested, twisting slightly in his grip, eyes sparkling mischievously. Izuku's mind raced. "I can't let her think I'm ignoring her, maybe just." With a quick step forward, he slid a small piece of paper into her hand. "Here just in case you want to contact me," he said, voice quiet but steady. Nijire's eyes widened, a grin spreading across her face as she peeked at the paper. "You actually gave me your number?" Izuku's face turned crimson, and he quickly turned to follow All Might. "Phew, that worked. She's happy, and I'm not in trouble, hopefully." All Might glanced back, a knowing smile on his face. "Good work, young Midoriya. But remember, hero work comes first. There'll be time for socializing later." Izuku nodded vigorously, cheeks still burning. "Hero work, yes, but I won't forget this moment either." Nijire waved energetically, hiding her excitement as Mirio tugged her further down the street. This is just the beginning, Izuku thought, determination and anticipation coiling in his chest. All Might turned to Izuku, his aura still faintly glowing from the battle. "Young Midoriya, let's go someplace to talk," he said, voice calm but firm. Izuku nodded, brushing off a bit of dust from his clothes. Finally, a moment to breathe. He followed All Might through the streets, the city slowly returning to normal. Civilians stared in awe and whispered, still trying to process the mysterious boy who had just saved them. Black Whip, full cowl, all of it no one knows yet. I need to train harder. As they walked, Izuku's mind replayed the fight, every movement, every instinct. I can improve, I must improve. All Might glanced at him, a faint smile on his face. "You did well today, Midoriya. But remember, this is just the beginning. Rest, and we continue your training tomorrow." Izuku straightened, determination shining in his eyes. "Yes, sensei. I won't waste any time." Together, they walked toward the apartment, the city slowly calming behind them. Izuku's thoughts buzzed with excitement, plans, and anticipation for the next step in his journey. The sky was still dark when Izuku Midoriya's eyes snapped open. 4 a.m. No alarm, no hesitation. He sat up instantly. "Today I train." The memory of yesterday's battle flashed through his mind, the flying cars, the shocked crowd, the strange power surging from his arms. "Black Whip, I need to master it." He slipped out of bed, already dressed in training clothes, movements sharp and focused. His body hummed with anticipation, energy buzzing under his skin like static. "All right," he whispered, tying his shoes. 10 kilometers. A small grin formed. "Let's go." The streets were empty when he stepped outside. Streetlights flickered softly, and the cool morning air brushed against his face. Perfect training weather. Izuku leaned forward slightly. Then he ran. His feet struck pavement in steady rhythm, breath controlled, posture balanced. Each step was precise, deliberate, not reckless speed, but trained movement. Control first. Power later. His pace increased. Wind rushed past his ears. His heartbeat steadied instead of racing. This body still needs to adapt. I can't rely only on experience from my past life. I have to rebuild everything from the ground up. His eyes sharpened. "Good," he muttered between breaths. "That just means I can get even stronger this time." 3 hours later. The horizon was just beginning to glow when Izuku reached the beach. His shoes skidded slightly against the sand as he stopped, chest rising and falling steadily. The shoreline stretched endlessly before him, piles of scrap metal, broken furniture, rusted appliances, and mountains of trash scattered across the sand. The perfect training ground. Izuku clenched his fists. "All right, let's start slow." Green lightning flickered across his body. One for all, full, cowling 20%. Power surged through his muscles, the air around him trembling faintly. His stance lowered instinctively, balance perfect, breathing steady. Sand shifted beneath his feet as he stepped forward. Now, Black Whip. Dark green tendrils burst from his arms, crackling with energy. They lashed outward like living ropes, wrapping around chunks of garbage refrigerators, tires, scrap beams. "Huh!" With a sharp pull, he yanked them all together into one massive pile. The sand exploded outward. The trash slammed into a heap. Izuku grinned. Good control, but not enough. His aura flared brighter. Red veins pulsed faintly along his arms. 25%. The air vibrated. Electricity snapped louder. The pressure surged through his limbs like a roaring current. NGH. His knees bent slightly from the strain. Too fast, stabilize. Black Whip thrashed wildly for a second, tendrils striking the sand like whips of lightning. Izuku gritted his teeth. Control it. The tendrils slowed, steadied, then obeyed. They lifted an entire slab of debris, twice his size, and hurled it cleanly into the pile. Silence fell. Izuku stood there, breathing hard, surrounded by scattered sand and stacked garbage. A slow smile spread across his face. I can do it, I can really do it. Impressive, very impressive, young Midoriya. Izuku's head snapped up. Standing at the edge of the beach, cape fluttering gently in the morning breeze, was All Might. His tall form was backlit by the rising sun, golden light outlining his silhouette like a living symbol. Izuku quickly released Black Whip, the dark tendrils dissolving into sparks. All Might. Sand shifted as he straightened, still breathing hard from the strain. All Might stepped forward slowly, eyes sharp, observant, not just proud, but analyzing. "You're already pushing your limits this early in the morning," he said. 20% no. That last burst was higher. Izuku scratched his cheek sheepishly. "I tried 25% for a second." All Might's eyes widened slightly. 25? He repeated quietly. The wind swept across the beach. Trash piles rattled faintly. "Young Midoriya," All Might continued, voice deeper now. "Most wielders would shatter their limbs attempting that so soon. And yet you stabilized it." Izuku clenched his fist, green sparks flickering faintly. "Because I've done it before. I still need more control," he said instead. "My body hasn't fully caught up yet." A slow smile spread across All Might's face. "Good answer." He folded his arms. "Power without control is meaningless. But control without ambition is stagnation. You." He pointed directly at Izuku. "Have both." Izuku's eyes lit up. Then All Might's expression sharpened. However, Izuku stiffened. "If you plan to push beyond 20%, All Might said, you will do so under my supervision. Understood?" "Yes, sir," Izuku replied instantly. All Might nodded once. "Good. Then let us begin your real training." After 2 hours of training, Izuku decided to close his eye for a quick nap. The moment Izuku closed his eyes, the world shifted. The sound of waves faded. The wind vanished. Darkness softened into a familiar, glowing mist. He stood once more in the realm of One for All. The predecessors were there, watching him. Daigoro Banjo stepped forward first, arms crossed, his expression sharp but amused. "I see you've been training my Black Whip," he said, voice carrying easily through the glowing space. "You handle it like someone who's used it for years." Izuku scratched his cheek sheepishly. "Well, I kinda have." Banjo smirked. "Huh, thought so. I bet you mastered it pretty well in your previous life." Izuku nodded. "Yeah, I did." A soft chuckle echoed nearby. Nana Shimura stepped forward, her presence calm and warm. "You're improving every day," she said gently. "Your control is already far beyond what we expected when you first awakened us." Izuku's chest tightened slightly at the praise. "They're watching me all the time." Another figure shifted from the mist in, his eyes observant. "Still," he added, "you shouldn't rush. Power responds to emotion, especially Black Whip. If your heart wavers, it will too." Izuku nodded seriously. "I know. I almost lost control earlier, pushing to 25%. A taller figure stepped forward, Bruce, stern gaze fixed on him. "Yet you stabilized it," he said simply. Silence followed. Then he added, "That is what matters." Izuku's eyes widened slightly. Getting praise from someone like him felt huge. "They really acknowledge me." Yoichi's calm voice echoed last, gentle but powerful. "You're growing faster than any wielder before you, Ninth. But remember, strength alone does not make a successor worthy." Izuku straightened instinctively. "Then what is?" Yoichi smiled faintly. "Heart." The mist around them shimmered softly. "Continue forward," Nana added. "We're watching, and we'll step in if you mess up," Banjo said with a grin. Izuku laughed quietly. "I'm not alone anymore." The light began to fade. Voices echoed gently. "Train well, Ninth. Grow stronger. We'll see you again soon." And the world dissolved into white. 15 minutes later, All Might leaned closer, waving a hand in front of Izuku's face. "Young Midoriya?" "Wakey, wakey." Izuku's eyes snapped open. "I'm fine." All Might blinked. "You call that fine?" "You froze mid-stretch." "I was talking to them again," Izuku said, sitting up. Then his expression sharpened. "Actually, All Might, can we do reaction training?" The symbol of peace smiled. "Oh, straight to advanced drills, are we?" Izuku stood, fists tightening with excitement. "You throw anything at me. Objects, attacks, feints, and we add close quarters combat." All Might's grin widened. "Very well. Show me what you've learned." Crack. A piece of driftwood shot toward Izuku's head. He tilted. It missed by a centimeter. Another flew. He ducked. A third. He spun aside. Sand burst under his shoes as lightning like green sparks flickered around him. Full cowling. All Might vanished from sight. Too fast. Instinct screamed. Izuku pivoted and swung. Texas smash. Boom. Air pressure exploded forward, but All Might had already slipped behind him. Good reaction, All Might said calmly. Izuku's eyes widened. Impact from behind. He launched forward across the sand, but twisted midair. Manchester smash. He kicked downward. Shockwave blasted the beach. All Might blocked with one arm, boots digging trenches through the sand. Oh, he rumbled, impressed. Mid-air counterattack. Izuku landed, breathing sharp but focused. He's faster than before. I need unpredictability. All Might blurred again. This time Izuku didn't wait. He jumped. Higher. Wind roared past his ears. All Might looked up. Izuku twisted his body midair, fist pulling back as power surged through his arm. New Hampshire smash. He punched the air behind him. Boom. The force blasted him forward like a missile. All Might's eyes widened slightly. Oh. Izuku rocketed toward him like a living cannonball. All Might crossed his arms. Thunderous impact. Sand exploded outward in a crater. For a second, silence. Then All Might slid back several feet, smiling. Well done, young Midoriya. Izuku landed, skidding, chest heaving. All Might straightened. You've improved your combat instincts and your creativity. Izuku grinned. I remembered how I used to fight. All Might chuckled proudly. Yes, I can see that. Wind swept across the cleared stretch of beach. Then, All Might raised a finger. But we're not finished yet. Izuku's eyes lit up. All Might suddenly vanished. Izuku's eyes widened. Above, a shadow crossed the sun. He looked up just in time to see All Might already mid-flip in the air, body spinning in a powerful somersault as momentum gathered around his arm like a coiling storm. California smash. Time slowed. Something stabbed into Izuku's skull. A sharp, violent spike of pain. Flash. A yellow lightning bolt tore across his vision. His body moved before his thoughts caught up. Danger. His instinct screamed it. Not fear. Not hesitation. A warning. Ack. Izuku clutched his head for half a second, teeth gritting as the sensation burned through his mind like a strike of electricity. But instead of panicking, he understood. Danger sense. Realization snapped into place instantly. The fourth user's quirk had awakened. All Might's descending punch tore through the air toward him. No time. No room. No mercy. Izuku's eyes sharpened. Full cowling. Green lightning exploded across his body. 30%. Boom. Sand detonated beneath his feet as he launched sideways at blinding speed. All Might's fist slammed into the ground. Crash. The beach cratered. Wind blasted outward in a violent shockwave. But Izuku wasn't there anymore. He skidded across the sand several meters away, breathing hard, electricity still crackling over his limbs. All Might straightened slowly from the crater, eyes wide. You dodged. Izuku lowered his hand from his head, still feeling faint echoes of the stabbing sensation. It warned me. All Might stepped forward, expression shifting from surprise to realization. That wasn't reflex. Izuku nodded once. No, that was another quirk. Silence fell between them as the wind swept grains of sand across the shattered ground. Then All Might smiled. Young Midoriya. His voice carried pride. You truly are the successor of One for All. Izuku clenched his fist, sparks dancing across his knuckles as excitement rose in his chest. Fourth user, thank you. All Might took one step forward, and the world snapped. Pain spiked in Izuku's head again. Flash yellow lightning. Incoming movement. Before All Might could shift. Whip. Dark tendrils exploded from Izuku's arm. Black whip. The energy lash coiled instantly around All Might's ankle. All Might's eyes widened. What? Izuku yanked. Gotcha. With a sharp pull and a twist of his waist, he hurled the symbol of peace upward. Sand spiraled as All Might's massive frame lifted into the air. Izuku didn't wait. He dashed forward, jumped, shot into the sky after him. Wind screamed past his ears as he arched his leg back, power surging downward into his limb. Green lightning erupted along his leg. St. Louis smash. His body twisted. Wham! A vertical roundhouse kick slammed toward All Might's face. All Might raised his forearm just in time. The impact boomed like a cannon blast, shockwaves rippling through the air as he was launched even higher. But Izuku was already moving again. His hand snapped forward. Fingers pulled tight. Power gathered. Delaware smash. Foom, foom, foom. Compressed air bullets blasted from his flicked fingers, detonating against All Might midair like invisible artillery. Each strike cracked like thunder. Smoke burst around All Might as the impacts stacked one after another. The sky echoed with rapid fire shockwaves. Below, sand spiraled violently from the pressure. Above, All Might burst through the smoke cloud and smiled. Izuku landed hard on the sand. His knees buckled. He caught himself with one hand, breathing ragged, shoulders rising and falling as sparks of one for all flickered weakly across his skin before fading out. His muscles trembled, not from fear, from strain. This body isn't fully trained yet. Even with all his experience, his new body still couldn't perfectly handle the power he once wielded so easily. Every cell felt overheated, every breath heavy, like his lungs were trying to catch up to the speed his will demanded. Across from him, All Might stepped out of the settling dust cloud, completely steady, unharmed, but smiling. Izuku pushed himself upright, fists tightening despite the exhaustion weighing down his limbs. "I need to train more," he said between breaths, "so I can save more people with a smile." Silence. Wind brushed across the beach. All Might's expression softened, not into his public heroic grin, but something quieter, warmer, proud. Young Midoriya. Izuku looked up. All Might placed a hand on his shoulder. "I made the right choice." Izuku blinked. "When I first saw you," All Might continued, voice steady but filled with conviction, "you showed me what a hero truly is." His grip tightened slightly. "You carry the flame of heroism." Izuku's eyes widened faintly. "And now," All Might said, smiling, "that flame burns brighter than ever." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The ocean waves rolled gently behind them. All Might clapped once, a broad grin on his face. "Let's call it a day, young Midoriya." Izuku wiped sand from his arms and legs, cough spluttering a little as dust fell from his hair. "Yes," Suri muttered, shoulders still tense from exertion. He trudged back to the apartment, body aching but heart still buzzing from the adrenaline. By the time he reached his room, the sand and sweat coated every inch of him. He collapsed onto the bed, letting out a long breath. As he grabbed his phone to check messages, a notification popped up on the screen. Ping. Izuku squinted. Huh. The sender wasn't saved under a name, yet just a number he didn't recognize. He tapped it cautiously. "Hey, it was so cool to see you fight today. I'm curious about everything. What's your quirk?" Izuku froze. "Wait, this is Nijire? She somehow has my number." A blush crept across his cheeks as he quickly typed back. Hey, it's me. Midoriya, you somehow got my number?" Seconds later, a reply. "Yeah, you gave it to me today. I couldn't resist asking. I'm so curious about you." Izuku's pulse sped up. She's being serious? He exhaled and typed carefully. "Okay, well, my quirk is one for all, but I'm still training." "One for all? What quirk is that? Tell me everything." Izuku pinched the bridge of his nose, chuckling nervously. "She's gonna make me talk forever." He typed again. "I'm still figuring it out. It's complicated, but thanks for watching. Means a lot." The phone vibrated almost instantly. "I bet you're amazing. Can we meet up sometime? I want to see more of your moves." Izuku sat back, sand still stuck to his arms, chest still racing. "She's really interested." He smiled faintly and replied, "Maybe sometime I'll show you once I get stronger." And for a moment, the exhaustion from the day didn't matter, not when Nijire's curiosity and excitement filled his screen. Izuku set his phone down on the nightstand, the screen still glowing faintly with Nijire's messages. He let out a tired sigh, muscles still sore from the day's training. Pulling the covers over himself, he closed his eyes. For a moment, the world of training, explosions, and powers faded away, leaving only the quiet hum of the apartment. Sleep came quickly, heavy but peaceful, carrying him into dreams of new challenges, new powers, and maybe even a new connection. The sunlight stabbed through Izuku's window. He bolted upright. "Oh no, no time. I'm late." Inko's voice called from the kitchen, calm as ever. "Izuku, breakfast." "No time, Mom," he shouted, scrambling out of bed. He yanked on his shirt, tossed it over his head, and sprinted to the bathroom. Quick splash of cold water, a hurried brush of his teeth, and he barely had time to tie his shoes. Gotta go, gotta go." Green sparks flickered across his skin as he clenched his fists. One for all, full cowling, 20%. The world seemed to slow for a heartbeat as his body surged with power. Muscles tightened, reflexes sharpened, and every movement felt fluid, precise. In a blink, he was out the door, dashing through the streets, dodging pedestrians, and weaving between cars with uncanny agility. The city blurred around him, but Izuku's focus was absolute. No breakfast, no time for delays, I have to get to school. And with each stride, the thrill of speed and the pulse of power reminded him why he trained not just to fight, but to be ready for anything. Izuku's feet barely touched the pavement before he launched himself upward. With a powerful push, he leapt onto the side of a building, shoes gripping the wall for a split second before he kicked off again. He soared through the air. Red veins pulsed faintly along his arms, glowing beneath his skin as green lightning crackled around his body, snapping and hissing like living energy. Wind roared past his ears while rooftops blurred beneath him. Too slow. He twisted midair, landed lightly on a rooftop edge, and sprang forward again without stopping. Each jump carried him farther, faster building to building, stride to stride, like gravity had forgotten him. Pedestrians below gasped, some pointing at the green streak flashing overhead, but Izuku didn't notice. His eyes were locked forward, sharp and determined. "Still not fast enough, I need more speed." Lightning flared brighter around him as he pushed his body just a little harder, shoes cracking the rooftop surface as he launched again, a green bolt racing across the skyline toward school. After 5 minutes of non-stop movement, Izuku finally saw the school gates ahead. He landed on the ground in a low crouch, shoes skidding slightly across the pavement before he forced his momentum to stop. The green lightning crackling around his body fizzled out, and the faint red veins beneath his skin slowly faded as he released the power. He breathed. His chest rose and fell quickly, small clouds of steam drifting from his shoulders from the heat his body had generated. "Hey!" Few students nearby stared at him, confused by his sudden appearance and the way the air still seemed to hum faintly around him. Izuku straightened, brushing imaginary dust off his uniform like nothing unusual had happened. "Okay, calm, normal, act normal." He adjusted his bag strap and walked toward the entrance as if he hadn't just sprinted across half the city in 5 minutes. Inside, though, his heart was still racing not from exhaustion, but from excitement. Full cow control is getting better, but I still need more speed. He clenched his fist slightly as he stepped through the school doors, determination flashing in his eyes. Izuku slid the classroom door open and stepped inside, trying to steady his breathing. The familiar chatter of students filled the room, chairs scraping, voices overlapping, papers shuffling. For a moment, it almost felt normal. Then he heard it. Well, look who finally showed up. Izuku's eyes shifted. Bakugo leaned back in his chair, boots propped slightly forward, sharp red eyes locked onto him. That same arrogant smirk tugged at his lips, the one Izuku remembered all too well. "Oi, Deku," Bakugo called, loud enough for half the class to hear. "You look like trash. Oversleep again? Or were you crying somewhere?" A few classmates snickered. Izuku froze for half a second. Not from fear, from memory. Right, this used to happen every day. But things were different now. He wasn't the same powerless boy anymore. Still, he kept his expression calm. No flinch, no shrinking, no stutter. "Morning, Caggoon," he said evenly. That alone made Bakugo's brow twitch. He noticed immediately. No shaking voice. No nervous rambling. No scared look in Izuku's eyes. Bakugo slowly lowered his feet from a desk. Huh, he muttered. The room's chatter softened slightly as a few students sensed the shift in tension. Izuku walked past him toward his seat like nothing was wrong. Posture straight, movement steady controlled. The quiet confidence in his steps felt completely out of place compared to the Deku everyone knew. Bakugo clicked his tongue. What's with you? He said, voice lower now, suspicious. You acting different or something? Izuku paused beside his desk. For a brief second, green determination flickered in his eyes. Because I've already lived this life once. But he only gave a small, harmless smile. Not really. And sat down. Bakugo stared. Not convinced. Not amused. Interested. The tension in the room hadn't fully settled when. Slide. The classroom door opened again. All right, everyone, take your seats. The teacher stepped inside, arms full of papers, eyes already half lidded with that tired, done with life expression teachers somehow mastered. Instantly, the lingering whispers died down, students scrambling back to their desks before they got called out. Bakugo clicked his tongue and leaned back in his chair, but his sharp gaze didn't leave Izuku. Still watching. Still suspicious. Izuku, meanwhile, sat calmly, hands folded on his desk like the model student he used to try so hard to be. Only now, the calm wasn't forced. His breathing had fully steadied, his mind clear. Focus. School first. Training later. The teacher set the papers down on the desk with a light thump. Attendance first. Names started being called one by one. Voices answered. Chairs creaked. Pens tapped. Normal classroom sounds. Midoriya. I'm here, Izuku replied. No hesitation. No stutter. The teacher glanced up briefly, mildly surprised by how steady he sounded, but didn't comment. From the side, Bakugo's eyes narrowed just slightly. Something was definitely different. The teacher flipped to the next page. Bakugo. TCH. Here. Attendance continued. Routine and uneventful, but beneath the ordinary classroom atmosphere, something subtle had changed. The old Deku would have kept his head down. This one sat straight, eyes forward, calm like he belonged anywhere he chose to be. And that difference? It didn't go unnoticed. 2 hours later, after 2 long, painfully boring lessons, the bell finally rang. Bring. The sound echoed through the classroom like salvation itself. Several students stretched, some groaning dramatically, while others immediately started chatting. Chairs scraped against the floor as groups formed, snacks came out, and the stiff classroom atmosphere loosened into noisy freedom. Izuku exhaled slowly. Finally, he rolled his shoulders once, loosening the tension in his muscles. Sitting still for that long almost felt harder than training. His body was used to movement now, speed, action, momentum. He rested his chin lightly on his hand, staring out the window as sunlight spilled across his desk. I should have trained more this morning. I could probably push full cowl a little higher if I... A sharp voice cut through his thoughts. Oi, Deku. Izuku didn't even flinch. He turned his head calmly. Bakugo was standing beside his desk. Not yelling, not exploding, just staring, which was honestly worse. His eyes narrowed slightly, like he was trying to solve a puzzle that annoyed him. What's your deal? Bakugo asked. A few nearby classmates went quiet. They knew that tone. That was Bakugo's I'm suspicious and irritated voice. Izuku tilted his head a little. What do you mean? Bakugo's jaw tightened. You're different. Silence. You didn't stutter this morning. You didn't look scared. And you're not avoiding me. His eyes sharpened. So what changed? Izuku met his gaze evenly. Inside, his thoughts were calm, steady. Because I already know everything that's going to happen. But on the outside, he just shrugged lightly. People change. Bakugo clicked his tongue. Don't give me that. He leaned slightly closer, voice low, so only Izuku could hear. You hiding something, Deku? The air between them tightened. Not with fear, with tension, and for the first time since they were kids. Bakugo wasn't looking down on him. He was trying to figure him out. The rest of the morning passed without anything major happening. Classes blurred together lectures, notes, chalk scratching across the board, teachers talking on and on. Izuku answered when called, stayed quiet when not, and kept his focus where it belonged. To anyone watching, he looked like a normal student paying attention. Inside, though, his mind never stopped moving. Breathing control is stable muscle output is efficient. If I adjust my stance angle, I could probably push full cowl higher without strain. Ring. The lunch bell rang. Instantly, the classroom atmosphere shifted from stiff silence to lively chatter. Chairs scraped, bags unzipped, food containers opened. Conversations overlapped into a noisy mix of laughter and complaints about homework. Izuku blinked once, pulled from his thoughts. Already lunchtime? He reached into his bag and took out his lunch, setting it neatly on his desk. Across the room, Bakugo was still watching him. Not openly, but enough. Izuku could feel it without even looking. He's suspicious. He didn't mind. If anything, it meant he was doing something right. He opened his lunch calmly and took a bite. Izuku quietly continued eating. He chewed slowly, calmly, like nothing in the world bothered him. Around him, the classroom buzzed with noise, friends laughing, chairs shifting, someone arguing about homework answers, but he stayed relaxed, focused on his meal. Energy first, training later. He picked up another bite, thoughtful. Even something as simple as eating mattered now. He could feel it clearly how much fuel his body needed, how his muscles responded, how fast his stamina drained when he used higher percentages. In his past life, he hadn't understood that right away. This time, he wouldn't make the same mistake. He swallowed, then rested his chin lightly on his hand for a second, eyes thoughtful. If I increase output suddenly, my body can handle it, but sustained percentages still need work. Across the room, voices rose in laughter. Someone dropped chopsticks. Another student complained dramatically about a test score. Normal school life. Izuku took another bite. Calm, quiet, peaceful, until you're eating pretty calmly for someone who was running late this morning. The voice came from beside him. Close. Izuku didn't jump, didn't choke, didn't panic. He simply turned his head. Bakugo was standing there again, watching, not yelling, not exploding, just observing. His sharp eyes flicked once over Izuku's posture, his breathing, his hands, his expression analyzing like he was trying to catch something invisible. You're weird today, Bakugo said bluntly. Izuku swallowed his food. Am I? Bakugo's eyes narrowed. Yeah, he definitely wasn't convinced. Ring. The lunch bell rang again, signaling the end of break. Students groaned, some rushing to finish their food, others scrambling back to their seats before the teacher walked in. Izuku calmly closed his lunchbox, wiped his hands, and slid it back into his bag, just as the door opened. All right, settle down. The teacher stepped in, setting a folder on the desk and glancing around the room until the chatter faded. Since you're all getting older, they began adjusting their glasses. Today we'll be talking about your future plans. A few students perked up, others slumped. Specifically, the teacher continued, which high school you plan to apply to. Murmurs spread instantly. Some students whispered excitedly. Others looked nervous. A few confidently grinned like they'd been waiting for this moment their whole lives. Izuku sat quietly, calm, because he already knew his answer. The teacher picked up a pen. We'll go one at a time. Stand up, say your goal school, and sit back down. Names started being called. Students stood, answered, sat. Some said local schools. Some said general academies. A few said they weren't sure yet. Then, Bakugo. Bakugo stood up like he'd been waiting for this his entire life. Hands in pockets, chin slightly raised, confidence radiating off him like heat. I'm going to say, unlike you losers, I'm definitely better than y'all, he said. The class erupted into murmurs. Of course he is. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Bakugo smirked slightly, clearly satisfied with the reaction. I'll be the best there, he added. No question. Some students nodded. No one laughed. No one doubted him, because his strength spoke for itself. The teacher scribbled something down. All right, sit. Bakugo dropped back into his seat. Midoriya. Silence. Izuku stood. Every eye in the room shifted toward him. Bakugo glanced sideways, already looking amused. He thinks I'll say something small, Izuku realized. Something safe. Instead, I'm applying to UA as well. The room froze. Someone actually choked. Huh? Wait, what? Did he just say UA? Whispers exploded across the classroom. Bakugo's smirk vanished. Slowly, he turned his head. You? The word came out flat. Sharp. Dangerous. Izuku met his gaze calmly. No fear. No hesitation. No backing down. Yes. The air tightened. A few students stared at Izuku like he'd just announced he planned to fly to the moon. Bakugo's eyes narrowed. You can't. Silence dropped again. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried. You, Bakugo repeated, leaning slightly forward, aren't getting into UA. No laughter this time. Just tension, because something about Izuku's expression didn't match the situation. He wasn't embarrassed. He wasn't nervous. He looked certain. Izuku tilted his head slightly. We'll see. And sat down. The reaction was immediate. The class buzzed like someone had just dropped a bomb in the middle of the room. Bakugo stared at him. Not angry. Not mocking. Focused. Like a hunter realizing his prey might actually have teeth. A loud crack snapped through the classroom. Someone had just activated their quirk. A gust of wind burst from one student's hands, papers fluttering everywhere. Another student sparked tiny flashes of light from their fingertips, showing off with a grin. Across the room, someone hardened their arm like stone while their friends crowded around in awe. The class buzzed with excitement. Whoa, that's so cool. Do it again. Izuku watched quietly from his seat. Calm. Observant. They're already this eager, he thought. They haven't even entered hero school yet. A louder voice cut through the noise. All right, that's enough. The teacher slammed a book lightly on the desk. No quirk demonstrations in class. I shouldn't have to remind you this isn't a training ground. Groans spread around the room as students reluctantly stopped showing off. A few still whispered excitedly, comparing abilities under their breath. Then, TCH, Bakugo's voice. Loud enough. He leaned back in his chair, eyes sliding toward Izuku. Well, obviously one person wouldn't be showing anything anyway. Some students snickered already, knowing exactly where this was going. Bakugo smirked. Right, Deku? He said lazily. Can't show off a quirk if you don't have one. Laughter burst out. A few students try to hide it. Most didn't. He's at a point. Yeah, he never uses anything. Izuku didn't react. Didn't clench his fists. Didn't look down. Didn't shrink. He just sat there, calm, which slowly made the laughter fade. Because it wasn't fun if the target didn't react. Bakugo noticed. His eyes narrowed slightly. What? He said, voice lowering no. Come back today. Izuku turned his head. Met his eyes. His expression was peaceful, steady, almost thoughtful. There's nothing to prove right now, he replied simply. Silence. Not loud silence. Heavy silence. The kind that presses on your ears. Bakugo's smirk twitched. That wasn't the answer he expected. Not denial. Not excuses. Not fear. Just quiet certainty. A few students exchanged looks. Something felt off. Different. Bakugo clicked his tongue and looked away, but his brows were faintly furrowed now. Whatever, he muttered. But he kept thinking, what the hell changed about you, Deku? A sharp slam echoed through the classroom. The teacher's hand was planted firmly on the desk, eyes narrowed behind their glasses. That's enough. The entire room froze. The last lingering sparks, gusts, and glowing effects flickered out instantly. I said, the teacher continued, voice low but firm, quirk usage is prohibited inside school grounds unless given permission. This is a rule, not a suggestion. The earlier excitement drained from a room like someone had pulled a plug. Students slowly sank back into their seats, avoiding eye contact. One of them muttered, sorry. The teacher sighed, pinching the bridge of their nose. You're not licensed heroes yet. Until then, you will follow regulations. If I see anyone using their quirk again in class, they tap the desk once. There will be consequences. Silence. Even Bakugo didn't speak. The teacher's gaze swept across the room, making sure the message landed. When their eyes passed over Izuku, they paused, briefly noticing, perhaps, that he had been the only one who hadn't activated anything at all. Good. Now open your textbooks. Chairs shifted. Pages flipped. The classroom slowly returned to order. But the earlier mood hadn't fully come back. Some students still glanced toward Izuku from time to time. Not laughing now, just thinking. Bakugo rested his chin on his hand, staring sideways at him again. He didn't even try to show off. His eyes narrowed slightly. Why? After school, the final bell rang, echoing through the halls. Students packed their bags, chatting about games, homework, and plans for the evening. Chairs scraped, laughter filled the room, and the usual end-of-day energy buzzed through the air. Izuku didn't waste a second. The moment dismissal was called, he was out of his seat. Training time. He slung his bag over his shoulder and hurried out, weaving through the crowd. Once he cleared the school gate and reached an empty street, green lightning snapped across his body. One for all, full cowling 0.3%. His shoes cracked the pavement as he launched forward, sprinting toward the beach like a green streak tearing through the city. By the time he arrived, the sun was already dipping lower in the sky, golden light spilling across the sand. Izuku dropped his bag. No hesitation. All right, let's go. He hit the ground. Sit-ups. 1, 2, 3, 50, 100. Sand stuck to his shirt as sweat started forming, but he didn't slow down. My core has to be stronger if I want higher percentages. 300 sit-ups. He rolled up instantly. Squats. 100, 500, 1,000. His legs trembled. Muscles burned. Sand shifted under his feet. He kept going. 2,900, 3,000. His breathing was heavier now, but his eyes were still sharp. Next, he grabbed a metal bar wedged between debris piles. Pull-ups. His arms strained as he lifted himself again and again, jaw tight, breath controlled. Sweat dripped from his chin into the sand below. 297, 298, 299, 300. Drop. Straight to the ground. Push-ups. His arms shook halfway through. His shoulders screamed. His triceps burned like fire. He didn't stop, because pain meant progress. Finally, 300. He pushed himself up slowly, chest rising and falling. Not enough. Behind him, a familiar voice spoke. You're working quite hard, young Midoriya. Izuku turned. All Might sat casually atop a large, rusted refrigerator on the sand like it was a throne, arms crossed, watching him with impressed eyes. Izuku smiled slightly, breathing steady despite the exhaustion. I have to, he said, if I want this body to keep up with my power. All Might's eyes gleamed, not just impressed. Proud. He rumbled. Then let us add one more exercise. He tapped the refrigerator beneath him. Drag me. Izuku's grin widened. Yes, sir. Green lightning crackled. Red veins faintly traced along his arms. He grabbed the rope tied around the heavy appliance, dug his heels into the sand, and pulled. The refrigerator lurched forward. Sand sprayed. Muscles strained. Power surged. And under the setting sun, the ninth wielder trained like someone racing fate itself. All Might watched quietly as Izuku dragged the refrigerator across the sand, muscles trembling but steady, lightning flickering faintly around him. The sun hung low now, painting the beach gold. 1 year, All Might said thoughtfully. That is how long you have until the entrance exam. Izuku nodded, still pulling. Yes, the school gives us a year to prepare, so I'm going to use every second. Sand carved lines behind his heels as he strained forward. 1 year is more than enough. Suddenly, ding, Izuku stopped. A notification sound. He blinked and glanced toward his bag. Huh? All Might raised a brow. A message? Izuku walked over, picked up his phone, and checked the screen. His eyes widened slightly. Message from Nijire Hado. Nijire. Hi. Are you training right now? I keep thinking about your fight yesterday. You were so cool. What was that power? Is it strength quirk? Or energy? Or both? Izuku froze. His face slowly turned red. Behind him, All Might noticed immediately. Young Midoriya, he said slowly, eyes narrowing with amusement. Why is your face turning the same color as your shoes? It's nothing, Izuku said quickly, holding the phone a little too stiffly. Just a message. All Might's smile grew. Oh, he rumbled. A message that causes such a reaction? Izuku coughed. She's just curious, that's all. On the screen, another message popped up. Nijire. Hello? Did you fall asleep? Or are you ignoring me? Izuku panicked internally. I can't ignore her, that'd be rude. But what do I say? I can't explain one for all. All Might leaned slightly, trying to peek. Izuku instantly turned the phone away. It's private. All Might chuckled. I see. Izuku's face turned even redder. The symbol of peace folded his arms, looking extremely pleased. Young Midoriya, he said knowingly, you seem to have gained quite the admirer. I didn't gain anything. Izuku protested. Ding. Another message. Nijire. If you don't reply, I'm going to keep texting. Izuku stared at the screen. She's serious, he whispered. All Might laughed. And for the first time that evening, Izuku looked more flustered than he did during training. Izuku swallowed, steadied his breathing, and quickly typed back. Izuku. Sorry, I was training. He hesitated, then added. It's just a strength-type ability. He stared at the screen. Okay. Safe answer. Not a lie, but not the truth either. Ding. Instant reply. Nijire. Oh, I knew it. But it looked different from normal strength quirks. Can you show me again sometime? Izuku's face warmed again. She replies fast, he muttered. Behind him, All Might chuckled. Popular already, young Midoriya? I'm not popular. Izuku said quickly. She's just curious. All Might hummed knowingly but didn't press further. Izuku typed again. Izuku. Maybe someday. He hit send and quickly locked his phone like it might explode if he held it longer. All Might rose from the refrigerator with a soft thud of sand. That will be enough for today. Izuku looked up immediately. Already? Yes. His tone shifted, still warm, but more serious now. Starting tomorrow, we will increase your training workload. Izuku's eyes sharpened. Understood. All Might crossed his arms. You have 1 year until the entrance exam, if you truly intend to master your power before then. His gaze glinted with determination. We must push your limits further. A small spark of green lightning flickered along Izuku's arm. Not from effort, from excitement. And All Might added, we must begin working toward awakening the remaining abilities within you. Izuku's breath caught slightly. The other quirks. He clenched his fist. Yes, sir. The wind swept across the beach, lifting grains of sand into the air as the sun dipped lower. Tomorrow, training would become even harder, and Izuku couldn't wait. The next afternoon, the beach trembled under the force of Izuku's training. Sand burst outward beneath his feet as he dashed forward, stopped, pivoted, and launched again, each movement sharper than the last. Sweat ran down his face, but his eyes were blazing with focus. Nearby, in skeletal form, All Might watched with arms crossed. Again, he called. Izuku lunged. One for all, full cowling 35%. Green lightning exploded around him as he accelerated, zigzagging across the shoreline, kicking up spirals of sand. His muscles strained, pushing against the limits of his body. Faster store power, release it. Something inside him shifted. A pressure, a coiling sensation deep in his limbs. His eyes widened. This feeling, energy compressed inside his muscles like a spring being wound tighter and tighter. Then, burst. Izuku shot forward in a sudden explosive dash, far faster than before, leaving a shockwave in the sand behind him. All Might's eyes widened. That speed. Izuku skidded to a stop, staring at his hands. That wasn't full cowl. Inside his mind, a calm, familiar voice spoke. That was mine. A silhouette stepped forward within the one for all space. The third user. Bruce Lee-like in presence and stance, calm yet powerful. F.A. Jean, the figure said. You've unlocked it again, Ninth. Izuku's breath hitched. F.A. Jean. Outside, lightning flickered faintly around him again. All Might stepped forward. Young Midoriya, what has happened? Before Izuku could answer, a cheerful voice called from above. Oh, there they are. Both of them looked up. Floating gently down from the sky were three figures in hero costumes. Nijire Hado, smiling brightly. Mirio Togata, waving casually while grabbing Nijire. Tamaki Amajiki, grabbing Nijire awkwardly. They landed lightly on the sand. Nijire tilted her head, eyes sparkling with curiosity as she pointed straight at skinny All Might. "Who's that?" Silence. All Might froze. Izuku froze. All Might's face drained of color. "Oh no." All Might spurred out some vital fluid. Poof. Smoke burst around him as he instantly transformed into his muscular form. "I am here." Nijire blinked. Mirio blinked. Tamaki blinked. They all looked back at the spot where the skinny man had just been, then back above All Might, then back again. Izuku covered his face. "Oh no." Nijire pointed again, eyes wide with amazement. Wait, weren't you just a totally different person 2 seconds ago?" Mirio leaned forward, fascinated. "That's actually incredible." Tamaki whispered, "Am I hallucinating?" All Might laughed nervously, sweat forming at his temple. "Huh, you must be imagining things, young heroes." Izuku facepalmed harder. Nijire squinted. "Nope, definitely saw it." All Might slowly turned his head toward Izuku. Izuku slowly turned toward All Might, both thinking the same thing. "We have to explain now, don't we?" Izuku slowly lowered his hand from his face. Yep, there was no escaping this. Nijire leaned forward, eyes practically sparkling. "Okay, explanation time. Because I definitely saw a skinny guy, and then suddenly she gestured dramatically at the towering hero. Boom. Muscle form." Mirio nodded cheerfully. "Yeah, that was pretty amazing. I didn't even see the transformation happen." Tamaki shifted awkwardly behind them. "I thought maybe I blinked at the wrong time." All Might laughed loudly. "Ha ha ha. What an active imagination you three have." They stared at him, unblinking, not buying it. Izuku sighed internally. "We're doomed." Nijire tilted her head. "You're acting suspicious." All Might coughed into his fist. "Well, you see, what you witnessed was actually—" He paused. For once in his life, the symbol of peace had no script. Izuku stepped in before the silence got worse. "It's a training method." All three turned to him. "A training method?" Mirio repeated. Izuku nodded calmly, slipping into analysis mode like it was second nature. "Yes." He was suppressing his muscle mass and presence to test my perception and reaction ability. "It's a specialized control technique used by top heroes to train students against opponents who conceal their strength." Silence. Wind blew across the beach. Nijire's eyes widened. "Oh," she clapped. "That makes so much sense." All Might blinked. "That worked." Mirio grinned. "That's actually really smart training." Tamaki nodded faintly. "Advanced intimidation conditioning." All Might straightened proudly, instantly rolling with it. "Yes, exactly." He boomed. "A high-level pro-hero training method." Izuku kept his expression neutral. Inside, he was relieved. Crisis avoided. Nijire suddenly leaned closer to Izuku again. "So you're a student, right? That means you must be super strong." Izuku scratched his cheek. "I'm still learning." Mirio's eyes lit up. "Wait, if you're training under him, does that mean you're aiming for UA?" "Yes." Nijire gasped dramatically. "I knew it. I told you felt cool." Tamaki looked at Izuku carefully. "Your energy output earlier," he said quietly. "It didn't feel normal." Izuku's eyes flicked toward him for half a second. Sharp, observant. He noticed. Before the moment could linger, All Might clapped his hands loudly. "Well then, since you three are on patrol, you mustn't waste time chatting." Mirio laughed. "He's right. Duty calls." Nijire waved enthusiastically at Izuku. "Bye for now. Train hard, okay? I want to see you fight again sometime." Tamaki gave a small nod. In the next instant, the three of them launched skyward, disappearing into the distance. Silence returned to the beach. All Might slowly turned his head toward Izuku. Izuku slowly turned toward All Might. They stared at each other. "Muscle suppression training method," All Might repeated. Izuku coughed. "It worked." A pause. Then, All Might burst out laughing. "Young Midoriya, that was brilliant." Izuku rubbed the back of his neck, a little embarrassed. I panicked. All Might grinned proudly. "You handled that like a true hero under pressure." Izuku smiled faintly. But inside, his mind was already turning again. Tamaki noticed something. I need better control. His eyes sharpened. I need to get stronger. All Might's laughter was still echoing across the beach when a gust of wind spiraled down from above. Actually, All Might froze. Izuku froze. Slowly, they looked up. Floating back down again were the same three figures. Nijire Hado, Mirio Togata, and Tamaki Amajiki landed gently on the sand. Nijire raised a finger. One tiny problem. Izuku blinked. Yes. She leaned forward. That explanation didn't actually explain anything. Silence. All Might stopped breathing. Mirio scratched his cheek sheepishly. Yeah, sorry. We weren't going to pry. But that energy earlier? That wasn't normal. Tamaki nodded faintly. It felt layered. Like more than one quirk. The air went still. Izuku's eyes shifted slightly. They noticed too much. All Might slowly straightened. This time, he didn't laugh. Didn't deflect. Didn't pretend. Instead, his voice lowered. Young heroes. All three straightened instinctively. The tone had changed. Serious. Calm. Heavy. There's a reason we did not explain earlier, he said. What you witnessed is not something the world is meant to know. Nijire's curiosity softened into focus. Mirio's smile faded into respect. Tamaki went very still. Izuku glanced at him. All Might continued. The power he possesses is a special one. A pause. Wind brushed the shoreline. It is called One for All. The name alone carried weight. Mirio blinked. I've never heard of it. That is because it is secret, All Might replied. Izuku stepped forward slightly. It's a quirk that can be passed down, he said calmly. From one person to another. It stores power and grows stronger with each successor. Nijire's eyes widened slowly. Wait. Mirio's expression sharpened. Tamaki's gaze lifted. All Might placed a hand on Izuku's shoulder. I'm a previous wielder. Silence. Not shock. Not noise. Just stillness. Understanding hit them all at once. Mirio inhaled quietly. So he's the next successor, All Might confirmed. Nijire stared at Izuku like she was seeing him for the first time. That's why her energy felt strange, she whispered. Tamaki nodded faintly. Multiple presences layered together. Izuku didn't deny it. Didn't boast. Didn't hide. Yes. The waves rolled softly behind them. Mirio placed a hand on his hip and smiled again, softer this time. That's amazing. No jealousy. No doubt. Just admiration. Nijire beamed. That means you're going to be super important someday. Tamaki added quietly. You must be under a lot of pressure. Izuku shook his head slightly. I chose this. All Might's grip on his shoulder tightened proud. Nijire suddenly straightened dramatically. Don't worry. Your secret is safe with us. Mirio nodded. Of course. We won't tell anyone. Tamaki gave a small thumbs up. Promise. Relief loosened something in All Might's chest. Thank you, he said sincerely. Nijire clasped her hands behind her back, smiling brightly again. Okay, now it really is goodbye this time. With that, the three launched skyward once more, vanishing into the clouds. Silence returned. Izuku exhaled slowly. That went better than expected. All Might chuckled. Indeed. He looked down at him. But now, young Midoriya. Izuku looked up. All Might's eyes gleamed with resolve. They understand what you carry. A beat. So from this point forward, his voice deepened. Your training will become far more intense. A spark of green lightning danced across Izuku's arm. His answer came instantly. I'm ready. Izuku took a deep breath, feeling the sand under his fingers. His eyes swept across Nijire, Mirio, and Tamaki. There's something I should explain, he said calmly. About One for All and why my power might have seemed unusual to you. Nijire tilted her head, curiosity sparkling. Go on. Izuku nodded. One for All isn't just a single quirk. It's cumulative. Each user who inherited it left part of their abilities inside it. That means a successor can awaken some of the quirks of previous users. Mirio's eyes widened. Wait, so it's like multiple quirks in one? Yes, Izuku said, voice steady. But normally, people don't know how to control them immediately. In my case, he paused, looking at them seriously. I already know. I remember all of it. Tamaki's gaze sharpened. You remember previous users? Izuku nodded again. I retained the memories of my previous life. I trained, meditated, and even communicated with every past wielder before I ever came here. Nijire's mouth dropped open. So you know how to use all their quirks? Yes, he said carefully. I can tap into them, use their techniques, and even speak to them inside the quirk's consciousness. That's why my full cowl, my speed, my reflexes, some of it might have seemed different. I've experienced this before. Mirio grinned. So you're like a veteran in a teenager's body? Izuku gave a small, wry smile. Something like that. But this body is new, so I still need to train. I can't use everything perfectly yet. Nijire bounced slightly. That's insane. You're like a walking library of hero skills. Tamaki tilted his head, frowning slightly. That also explains the layers I felt. Multiple powers, or perhaps multiple presences. Izuku nodded. Exactly. Each previous user's essence contributes to the power. Normally, successors don't realize it right away, but I remember it all what each user could do, their quirks, and even some techniques they didn't teach anyone. All Might's face softened with pride. Young Midoriya, you've truly embraced the responsibility of one for all. You carry not only the power but the memory of all who came before you. Izuku exhaled slowly, letting the sand dust settle around him. That's why I train so hard. I don't just want to master one for all. I want to use it to save people, just like every previous user did. Nijire's eyes sparkled again. You really are something else. I can't wait to see what you do. Mirio clapped him on the shoulder. Yeah, you've got our respect. That's for sure. Tamaki nodded quietly. Just be careful. Carrying all of that is a lot of weight. Izuku smiled faintly. I know, and I intend to carry it well. The waves crashed against the shore, carrying the rhythmic pounding of Izuku's footsteps across the sand. His green lightning flickered faintly, red veins tracing along his arms as he pushed himself forward. All Might stepped closer, crossing his arms. Young Midoriya, he said seriously, you will need assistance if you are to awaken the remaining quirks and regain your full combat potential. Do you want help? Izuku exhaled, eyes sharp. Yes, I want to train with you and with them. He gestured toward Nijire, Mirio, and Tamaki, who hovered nearby. All Might nodded. Very well. Big Three, you will join him. Your experience, observation, and power will aid him in mastering one for all's hidden abilities. Nijire's eyes sparkled. Oh, this is going to be fun. Mirio grinned. We're in. Tamaki simply nodded, serious as always. Izuku clenched his fists, determination blazing. I won't waste this. Every second counts before the UA entrance exam. Later, as the sun dipped lower, Izuku walked over to All Might. Sir, I want a new hero costume before the exam. Something that can keep up with my training and my powers. All Might's eyes narrowed in thought. Izuku continued, his tone confident. I want a Zeta suit. Improved bracers, iron soles, gloves for air pressure attacks, mid-gauntlets, even a full gauntlet that I can carry when not wearing the suit. So I can use one for all at higher percentages safely. All Might blinked. You've been thinking ahead, haven't you? Izuku nodded. Yes, I know what's coming. I need to prepare. I want to carry the full power of one for all safely and efficiently. But you need to find a girl called Mei Hatsum. She will also go into UA. A grin spread across All Might's face. Very well. We'll make it happen. Mei and Melissa can replicate the gauntlets for you. They'll be tailor-made for your body and your quirk's output. Izuku's chest swelled with anticipation. Thank you, sir. I won't waste this. All Might nodded, placing a hand on Izuku's shoulder. Remember, young Midoriya, true strength isn't just about power. It's about control, timing, and heart. Your body, your suit, your tools, they're all extensions of that principle. Izuku's eyes glimmered. I understand, and I'll master all of it. The next few days were a whirlwind. Big 3 training sessions focused on reaction time, core control, and coordinated movement. Izuku's FA gene bursts became smoother and faster with guidance from Mirio and the third user within One for All. Black Whip exercises refined under Nijire's watchful eye, teaching him precision and range. Close combat drills with Tamaki emphasized efficiency and timing. All Might watched closely as Izuku slowly unlocked and integrated the abilities of previous users one by one. By evening, sand and sweat coated him head to toe. His muscles burned. His heart raced. Yet his eyes were sharper, movements cleaner, and his mind calmer. This is just the beginning, Izuku whispered to himself. And for the first time, he felt the full weight and the promise of being the ninth. The sun was dipping low behind the waves, painting the beach gold and orange. Izuku wiped the sweat from his brow, sand sticking to his clothes, and breathed heavily. His muscles throbbed, but his focus never wavered. All Might stepped forward, smiling proudly. Young Midoriya, today was excellent. You pushed yourself farther than ever. Izuku nodded, still catching his breath. Thank you, sir. I couldn't have done it without guidance in them. He glanced toward where Nijire, Mirio, and Tamaki had been observing his training earlier. All Might's eyes twinkled. Speaking of them, you'll see them again soon. Izuku tilted his head, curious. They'll join you here tomorrow, All Might continued. After school, that's when their training ends for the day. You will all work together refining your abilities, controlling quirks, and preparing for the next level of One for All. Nijire's voice popped into Izuku's mind as a reminder from earlier that day. We'll be here. Can't wait. Izuku clenched his fists, determination blazing. Understood. I'll be ready. All Might rested a hand on his shoulder. Good. Rest up tonight. Tomorrow, your real work begins. Izuku exhaled slowly, watching the waves reflect the last light of the day. The anticipation, the challenge had all surged through him. 1 year until the UA exam. 1 year to unlock everything. And tomorrow, we take another step forward. With that thought, he gathered his gear and started walking home, sand crunching beneath his shoes, already replaying strategies for the next day's training. Weeks had passed since the Big Three had joined Izuku's training. The beach was no longer just a place to run, jump, or lift heavy objects. It had become a proving ground. Sand swirled around him as he sprinted across the shoreline, green lightning flickering along his limbs. One for all, full cowling 50%. Izuku shouted, his voice carrying over the crashing waves. His speed was sharper, more controlled than ever. Every movement was precise. His kicks now carried the iron saw's full force, and his hands unleashed pressurized air bursts from the gloves with pinpoint accuracy. Then came the combination moves. Black whip coil from his arms, wrapping around a training dummy with deadly precision. Fa Gene compressed his momentum, launching him forward faster than he had thought possible. Danger sense tingled sharply in his head, yellow lightning crackling across his vision, alerting him to every hazard in the area. The moves flowed seamlessly together. This was no longer simple training, it was choreography, instinct, and memory of a past life converging in one body. He landed, chest heaving, and smiled. I finally feel it. Every quirk working together. All Might, watching from the edge of the beach, frowned slightly. Young Midoriya, I must admit, I cannot keep up with your progress. Whatever you're doing, I've never seen it before. Izuku wiped sweat from his brow. I'm building on the skills and knowledge of the previous users. That's why it feels different from normal training. I know the quirk history, how they used it, how they moved. I can anticipate it all. All Might's eyes narrowed. A lifetime of knowledge. In your hands, incredible. Izuku nodded. Exactly. But there's more. I feel something new, something awakening. The air shifted. Sand swirled violently around him as a strange smoke began to curl along the shoreline. From within the gray haze, a figure slowly emerged. The sixth user of One for All. The quirk manifested as a smoke screen, thick and swirling, obscuring their form while their voice cut through clearly. You've come far. Ninth, the voice said, smooth yet commanding. But now it's time to see if you can handle me in your next inheritance. Izuku's heart pounded. His sixth sense flared, not danger sense, but something new. He instinctively moved his black whip, coiling it in front of him. Fa Gene stored his momentum, ready to spring. Full cowl amplified every inch of his reflexes. I'm ready, he whispered to himself. All Might's jaw tightened. He had no idea what quirk this was or what the sixth user could do. He had trained Izuku for years, but this was beyond anything he had anticipated. Izuku's eyes glinted. I've learned from the past, and I'll face the future. Whatever it is, I can handle it. The smoke thickened. A soft chuckle echoed within it. Good. Then let's begin, Ninth. The smoke swirled violently around Izuku as he steadied himself on the sand. Green lightning traced his veins, red sparks flaring along his arms. Full cowling 50% okay. Maintain focus. He gritted his teeth. He could hold 50% for only 6 minutes. Anything longer, his body burned. 45% was sustainable for hours, and that's what he chose. One for all, full cowling 45%, he whispered, feeling the surge of one for all pulse through him. From above, a familiar voice called. Ready, young Midoriya? Nijire, Mirio, and Tamaki descended onto the beach. All Might's eyes twinkled. Time for a real test. Let's see what you've got against the big three. Izuku exhaled, letting the smoke screen spread outward. Sand and mist coiled around him, blurring his movements. 6 full blast, he shouted. The smoke thickened, spiraling like living ink. Within his mind, he felt the presence of the third user whispering strategies and the fifth user warning about timing. He moved instinctively. Manchester Smash. He pivoted, launching his leg at supersonic speed. To an observer, it looked like a rider kick, but faster, sharper, and powered by the flow of Vestige. Is that what I think it is? And muttered behind Izuku, eyes widening. Bruce and Daigoro also appears. Izuku grinned in his mind. Third user now. Vestige. Momentum compressed in his body as he coiled like a spring. He swung his black whip to the side, using it like a slingshot, pulling back the energy like ammunition. One for all foe 45% Manchester Smash. He yelled, releasing. The black whip extended, snapping the energy forward with him riding its momentum. His leg connected with the blast, propelling it faster than a bullet. Mirio reacted instantly, splitting his momentum to glide through the projected wave with ease. Nijire's attack came from the left, a concentrated energy pulse, but Izuku's speed outmatched her reaction time. He dodged, weaving through the air as if bending around the waves themselves. Tamaki's shadow-based maneuver aimed to flank him, but Izuku's new reflexes, honed with danger sense, let him anticipate and counter before she even completed her strike. The blast carried on, coiling like a living projectile, faster than a bullet. All Might's jaw dropped. By the symbol of peace, he's faster than I thought possible. Izuku's feet slammed into the sand. He landed, breathing steadily, adrenaline surging. The smoke screen dissipated, revealing him standing confidently, hair plastered to his head, green lightning flickering faintly along his arms. Nijire blinked. He moved faster than my eyes could follow. Mirio grinned, clearly impressed. That's insane the way he combined Black Whip, Vestige, and full cowl. He's practically untouchable. Tamaki simply nodded, still analyzing. His reaction speed faster than my calculations predicted. Izuku exhaled slowly, chest heaving, adrenaline still thrumming. This is only the beginning. All Might walked forward, beaming with pride. Inside his mind, the third user whispered a quiet laugh. Yes, just like before. Izuku grinned, ready for the next round. Bring it on. I'm not holding back. Mirio silently crouched behind Izuku, intending to test him with a sneaky attack. But before he could spring, Izuku's danger sense flared a sharp lightning bolt stabbing in his mind. Someone's behind me. Without hesitation, Izuku pivoted, launching his leg in a perfect arc. St. Louis smash. The kick connected with Mirio's torso, just enough to send him off balance controlled. Not dangerous, but precise. Before he could catch his breath, Nijire fired a wave of energy from the side. Izuku didn't flinch. His mind ran through calculations in a split second. Full cowling 45% trajectory air resistance distance. He reacted instantly. Delaware smash. One for all surged through his leg and fingers, sending a concentrated air projectile toward Nijire. The blast struck her in midair like a fast-moving bullet, pushing her back safely but firmly. Tamaki immediately tried to flank and assist Mirio. Izuku's eyes flicked toward him, and his mind raced. Need to neutralize without harming, must prioritize targets one at a time. He focused carefully, activating his new technique, pinpoint focus. A tendril of black whip shot from his arm, guided by his enhanced core perception. He honed in on Tamaki, calculating his position, speed, and trajectory with surgical precision. Target locked. The whip wrapped lightly around Tamaki's arm, not to hurt, but to restrict movement just enough so Izuku could reset the flow of combat. He exhaled sharply, shifting his stance. His thoughts moved faster than his body, a perfect synthesis of black whip, Fa gene, full cowl, and danger sense. Got you, he muttered under his breath. The three of them, Mirio, Nijire, and Tamaki, paused, impressed. Even in this mock battle, Izuku's combination of tactics, quirk control, and precise movement left them momentarily stunned. All Might, observing from the edge of the beach, couldn't hide his pride. Young Midoriya, your strategic thinking and mastery of one for all are beyond your years. Remarkable. Izuku wiped the sweat from his brow, a small smile forming. This is what training with the big three should feel like. Tamaki lunged to assist Mirio, moving quickly across the sand. Izuku's mind raced, analyzing every step. He's closing and I need to neutralize him without causing harm. Izuku's eyes narrowed. One for all, full cowling 45%. Detroit smash. The air around him crackled as one for all surged through his arm. With Fa gene storing momentum in his legs and black whip ready for control, Izuku launched himself forward like a human cannonball. His fist connected with the precise point he had calculated on Tamaki's movement path. The force of the Detroit smash sent Tamaki sliding safely across the sand, giving him just enough space to recover without injury. Pinpoint control check. Target neutralized temporarily. Izuku muttered under his breath, already analyzing the next move. Mirio's eyes widened as he quickly regained his balance. Whoa, he's using one for all's power with surgical precision now. Nijire floated above, her energy pulses adjusting midair, clearly impressed. That wasn't just raw power, he's thinking 3 moves ahead. Izuku landed, green lightning flickering along his arms. He exhaled sharply, focusing again. All Might, watching from the edge of the beach, could barely contain his pride. Izuku's eyes glinted with determination. I'll master them all. The beach was quiet now, only the gentle crash of waves against the shore. Sand clung to Izuku's sweat-drenched clothes, his chest rising and falling as he caught his breath. Nijire, still floating slightly above the ground from exhaustion, suddenly surged forward and threw her arms around him. Phew, that was amazing, Izuku, she exclaimed, hugging him tightly. Izuku froze for a split second, eyes wide, before carefully patting her back. Thank you. Nijire, you did amazing too. Mirio and Tamaki blinked, mouths slightly open, exchanging confused glances. All Might's jaw dropped. Young Midoriya, what's happening here? Mirio scratched the back of his head, embarrassed. I think she's just really excited about the training. Tamaki tilted her head, frowning slightly. I don't understand why she hugged you. Izuku, flustered and still panting from the training, stepped back slightly. I guess it was just thanks for helping me. Nijire pulled back slightly, still grinning. Seriously, you handled all of us and the simulations perfectly. You're incredible. All Might shook his head, a small laugh escaping. Even after all my years, I still can't predict the ways heroes show their enthusiasm. Izuku wiped his brow, a small smile tugging at his lips. I just want to master everything I can and make sure everyone stays safe. The big three and All Might exchanged glances, realizing that Izuku's dedication wasn't just about raw power, it was heart, strategy, and determination all wrapped together. Nijire bounced slightly. Well then, same time tomorrow? Izuku chuckled softly, nodding. Yeah, let's keep going. All Might chuckled, shaking his head. Young Midoriya, you truly inspire everyone around you. Even when exhausted, your drive never stops. The sun dipped low on the horizon, painting the beach gold. The group trudged off, tired but smiling, knowing tomorrow would be another day of pushing limits together. Izuku's steps slowed as a distant roar split the air. The ground trembled beneath his boots. Explosion, something's happening. He sprinted toward the source, sand and debris flying past him. As he approached, the crowd thinned, revealing a horrifying scene. A villain, sludgy and grotesque, clutching a young boy in his arms. His figure shimmered with dark, viscous power, and smoke curled around the edges of the battlefield. Izuku's chest tightened. He recognized the boy instantly. Bakugo. The child's hands flickered with sparks, struggling to release bursts of his own quirk in panic, which only made the situation more dangerous. Explosions ricocheted around them, sending waves of debris through the air. Izuku's mind raced. I need to protect him, but I can't rush in blindly. I need to think, analyze the situation, anticipate the villain's moves, and keep Bakugo safe. People screamed in the background, panic rippling through the crowd. Izuku's eyes flickered with green lightning. Red veins traced along his arms as his heart pounded. Full cowling 45% black whip, ready FA, Gene, primed danger sense active. He moved through the crowd, careful to avoid panicking civilians while keeping the villain and Bakugo in view. Every step, every decision had to be precise. I can't let him get hurt. I have to save him. Think. Izuku clenched his fists, scanning the environment. Broken cars, rubble, and smoke obscured the villain's movements. Bakugo continued to struggle, explosions unintentionally making the rescue even harder. I need a plan. I can't just brute force this. I have to approach carefully, control the situation, and protect everyone. The crowd murmured nervously, pointing, whispering, and shuffling back. Okay, first step, stabilize the environment. Then isolate the villain and finally get Bakugo out safely. Izuku's jaw tightened. I've handled dangerous situations before. I can do this. I will do this. The villain's sludge-like form shimmered in the smoke, and Bakugo's sparks lit the air. Izuku inhaled, steeling himself for the impossible task ahead. No mistakes. Not even one. Izuku's breathing slowed. This is it. Green lightning crackled across his body as he pushed his power higher. The air vibrated around him. One for all, full cowling 50%. The ground beneath his feet fractured slightly from the pressure. Energy coiled in his muscles, compressed, contained, waiting. Inside his mind, a familiar figure appeared, arms folded, sharp eyes watching. Bruce, what are you doing? Izuku didn't hesitate. Charging kinetic energy, storing, stacking motion. The third user's gaze sharpened as realization hit. You're combining them. Izuku's eyes snapped open. F.A. Gene. Power surged through him, coiled force finally released. One for all foe 50% Manchester smash. Boom. The street shattered as Izuku launched forward. He didn't run, he detonated in motion. Wind exploded outward behind him, forming a shockwave that rippled through the crowd. People gasped as a green streak shot past them, faster than their eyes could track. Nearby heroes froze in disbelief. What? That speed? Did he just... To them, he vanished. To Izuku, time slowed. The sludge villain loomed ahead, its murky form tightening around Bakugo. The boy's sparks flashed wildly, explosions bursting in panicked bursts. Trajectory. Calculated. Wind resistance accounted for. Impact angle locked. His leg arched back mid-air, power spiraling into it like a compressed storm. The stored kinetic force of F.A. Gene layered perfectly over one for all's output. Bruce's voice echoed faintly in his mind, impressed despite himself. You really did learn fast. Izuku's eyes burned with focus. No hesitation, no fear. Just save him. His heel ignited with green lightning as he closed the final distance. And every hero watching realized the same thing at once. That kid wasn't charging in recklessly. He had already calculated everything. A powerful gust swept down the street. Boom! A massive shadow landed between the heroes and the scattered sludge remains. Smoke curled. Cape fluttered. A towering figure straightened to full height, muscles bulging, smile blazing like the sun itself. All Might had arrived. He planted his hands on his hips. Never fear. His voice boomed across the ruined street. Because I am here. The crowd erupted instantly. All Might, it's the symbol of peace. We're saved. Even the pro-heroes looked relieved. But then, they noticed something. The villain was already defeated. All Might's grin stayed frozen a second longer than usual. His eyes shifted. There, standing amid cracked asphalt and drifting dust, green lightning fading from his skin, was Izuku Midoriya, breathing hard, arm smoking slightly, school uniform torn at the sleeve. Alive, unhurt, victorious. A nearby hero muttered, "He did that." Another whispered, "That kid took down the villain before All Might even arrived." From the sidewalk, Katsuki Bakugo stared in disbelief, jaw tight. All Might's sharp eyes narrowed just slightly. Not suspicion, recognition, pride. Young Midoriya. He stepped forward, voice lowering just enough that only Izuku could hear. "I see you didn't wait for me." Izuku straightened instinctively. "Yes, sir." A beat. Then, All Might burst into booming laughter. "Ha ha ha. Splendid work, young Midoriya." The surrounding heroes blinked. Wait, he knows the kid? All Might turned dramatically to the crowd again, raising one finger to the sky. "Citizens, the situation is already under control." Cheers exploded once more, but as applause filled the air, All Might leaned slightly toward Izuku again and murmured quietly, "We're going to have a long talk about that 50%. Izuku swallowed. All Might bent down, scooped the defeated sludge villain into a reinforced containment jar, twisted the lid tight, and handed it to the police. "Secure this carefully," he said with a heroic nod. The officers saluted. "Yes, sir." Without another word. Boom. Wind blasted outward as All Might grabbed Izuku Midoriya by the shoulder and launched them both skyward in a single leap. From below, the crowd gasped. "They're flying." That jump was insane. They vanished over the rooftops. Back on the street, several pro-heroes surrounded Katsuki Bakugo. One crouched beside him, impressed. "Kid, that was a strong explosion quirk. Ever thought about joining my agency after you graduate?" Bakugo's eye twitched. His teeth clenched. Gore. His lips curled into a sharp, feral grin, the kind that looked more like a warning than a smile. "TCH, like I'd work under anyone weaker than me." The heroes exchanged amused looks. "Spirited one, huh?" Rooftops far away. Wind rushed past as All Might and Izuku landed on a tall building with a soft thud. All Might crossed his arms. His expression shifted. Not smiling. Serious. "I saw that, young Midoriya." Izuku stiffened. "You used one for all in public." "Yes, sensei." A pause. The city noise hummed far below. All Might sighed, then placed a firm hand on Izuku's shoulder. "You must keep it secret. That power cannot become public knowledge yet. If people learn you hold it, villains would target you immediately." Izuku nodded quickly. "I understand. I'll be careful." All Might studied him for a moment, then suddenly smiled again. But still, he laughed warmly. "That was magnificent." Izuku blinked. "Really? You acted before fear could stop you. That is the instinct of a true hero." Izuku's face turned red. "I'll thank you." All Might clapped once. "Now then, a hero must replenish energy after battle." He pointed dramatically toward the street. Dinner. Restaurant later. They sat across from each other in a small diner booth. Plates stacked. Glasses half empty. All Might leaned forward slightly. "We also need to discuss your percentages." Izuku froze mid-bite. "You used 50%. "Yes. That is far beyond what your body should safely handle right now." Izuku scratched his cheek sheepishly. "I kind of pushed it." All Might gave him the look. The disappointed mentor look. Izuku straightened instantly. "I won't do it again without thinking, sir." Silence. Then, All Might chuckled. "I truly chose well." Izuku blinked. "When I look at you, you remind me what a hero is supposed to be." Izuku's hands tightened slightly around his cup. "I still have a long way to go." All Might nodded. "Good." His eyes gleamed proudly. "Because that means you'll grow even stronger." After dinner, night settled quietly over the streets as Izuku walked home alone, hands in his pockets, the cool air brushing against his face. His mind replayed the day. Training. The fight. All Might's praise. Buzz. Buzz. Buzz, 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 buzz. Izuku blinked. Huh? He pulled out his phone. Notifications flooded the screen. 12 new messages. 15 new messages. 18 new messages. What? He opened them. All from the same contact. Nijire Hado. Nijire. Hi. Nijire. Are you home yet? Nijire. Your fight today was so cool. Nijire. Like really cool. Nijire. How did you move that fast? Nijire. Or, is that like a technique? Nijire. Or both. Nijire. Also, do you train every day? Nijire. Wait, do you eat enough protein? Nijire. You look kind of thin. Nijire. Not in a bad way. Nijire. Just hero analysis way. Nijire. Hello? Nijire. Are you alive? Izuku stopped walking. Stared. She types fast. Another buzz. Nijire. Wait, maybe you're sleeping. Nijire. But it's early. Nijire. Unless you sleep early. Nijire. Heroes should sleep early. Nijire. Sleep is important for muscle recovery. Izuku's face slowly turned red. She's still going. He hesitated, thumb hovering over the keyboard. Then finally typed. Izuku. Hi. 3 dots appeared instantly. Nijire. You're alive. Izuku jumped. She replied immediately. He kept walking under the streetlights, phone glowing in his hands, heart oddly fast for a reason that wasn't danger sense this time. Izuku froze mid-step, staring at his screen. His face turned bright red. Not battle red. Not danger red. No, I just used 50% one for red. This was shy red. Nijire. Why are you typing and stopping and typing and stopping? She can tell. Izuku nearly dropped his phone. His thumbs trembled. He typed. Deleted. Typed again. Deleted again. Typed. I'm fine. Deleted. Typed. Hello Nijire senpai. Deleted. Typed. Yes. Deleted. His brain was overheating harder than when he pushed full cowl past his limit. Nijire. Are you nervous? I'm not nervous. He accidentally sent it. Izuku. I'm not nervous. He froze. I sent it. His soul left his body. 3 dots appeared. Paused. Disappeared. Appeared again. Nijire. Nijire. You are nervous. Nijire. That's cute. Steam practically rose off Izuku's head. Cute. His legs locked. He stood in the middle of the sidewalk like a statue. Pedestrians walked around him. One guy whispered, is he buffering? His phone buzzed again. Nijire. Anyway, Izuku's expression instantly shifted. Smile gone. Eyes sharp. Careful. Secret. He typed slowly this time. Izuku. It's complicated. Pause. Then. Nijire. Oh, mysterious type hero. Nijire. I like those. Critical hit. Izuku.exe stopped working. His brain. Complement detected. System overheating. Social skill not installed. He covered his face with one hand while holding the phone with the other. Why is talking to her harder than fighting villains? Nijire. Wait. Nijire. Are you blushing right now? Izuku nearly threw the phone into orbit. Izuku's phone buzzed again just as he finally managed to breathe normally. Nijire. Sue. Nijire. Izuku. Nijire. Do you want to hang with us tomorrow? His heart skipped. Hang with them? His brain instantly pictured. Nijire smiling right in front of him. Mirio laughing loudly. Tamaki staring silently into his soul. All Might somehow appearing out of nowhere. System overload. He stared at the message for a full 30 seconds. A drop of sweat rolled down his cheek. Okay, calm down. This is just a normal invitation. Normal people accept invitations. Heroes accept invitations. Future number 1 heroes definitely accept invitations. He typed. Deleted. Typed again. Deleted again. Inside his mind. Daigoro. You fought villains at 50%, but a girl texting you is your final boss? And just reply, kid. Bruce, confidence. Short answer. Izuku inhaled. Typed. Sent before he could panic. Izuku. Sure. He froze. That's it. Instant reply. Nijire. Why? Nijire. We're training after school near the coast again. Nijire. Don't be late, okay, mystery boy. His face turned red again. Mystery boy? He slowly lowered the phone, staring at the ground like reality had personally attacked him. I think I just agreed to hang out with the big three. A pause. Why am I more nervous about that than fighting villains? Dark mist swirled as Izuku stepped fully into the inner world of One for All. The ground beneath his feet looked like shattered glass, glowing faintly. Before him stood the 9 holders, silent, powerful, watching, in a line, like legends carved into time itself. Yoichi Shigaraki calm, gentle eyes. Tashitsugu Kudo arms crossed, sharp gaze. Bruce the warrior presence, radiating battle instinct. Haikage Shinomori quiet, observing everything. Daigoro Banjo grinning confidently. And Tayutai calm like drifting smoke. Nana Shimura warm, heroic smile. Tashinori Yagi proud, reassuring presence. And finally, Izuku Midoriya standing among them. For a moment, no one spoke. Then, Yoichi stepped forward. So you come again, Ninth. Banjo folded his arms, smirking. Kid's mastering everything way faster than we expected. Bruce nodded once. He's not just using our power. He understands it. Haikage studied him carefully. Your body is still adapting, but your mind has already lived this path once. Izuku scratched his cheek shyly. Yeah, kinda. Nana smiled warmly. You carry all of us, and yet you're still yourself. That's your real strength. Unsmoke curled softly around the air. Rest now. Your body needs it. Tashinori's spirit form gave a proud nod. Sleep, young successor. Tomorrow you grow stronger again. The glowing world slowly began fading. Light, mist, darkness. The voices echoed one last time. We'll be watching Ninth. Morning. Sunlight slipped through the window. Birds chirped. Izuku's eyes slowly opened. Morning already? His body felt heavy, but inside, his core burned with power. Stronger than yesterday. And somewhere deep within, the previous users were smiling. Morning sunlight poured across the room as Izuku Midoriya stretched in bed. His muscles still ached from yesterday's training, but underneath the soreness was something new. Power. Stable. Controlled. Waiting. His phone suddenly buzzed violently on the desk. Nijire. Good morning. Don't forget. We're hanging out today. We're meeting at the plaza near the beach. Come. Izuku shot upright. Wait today. He scrambled out of bed, nearly tripping over his blanket. 10 minutes later. Hair messy. Shirt half-tucked. Toast in mouth. Mom, I'm going out. His mom's voice came from the kitchen. Already. At least walk safely. Flash. Green lightning cracked around him. One for all full cowling 20%. Wind exploded behind him as he launched out the door and vanished down the street. Beach Plaza. Standing near a railing overlooking the ocean were 3 familiar figures. Nijire Hato bouncing on her heels excitedly. Mirio Togata smiling like sunshine. Tamaki Amajiki hiding behind Mirio. Nijire suddenly gasped. He's here. Whoosh. Wind blasted past them as Izuku skidded to a stop. Sand sprayed everywhere. Tamaki flinched. Mirio laughed. Nijire sparkled. You're fast. Like really fast. Did you run here? Did you jump? Did you fly? Can you fly? Izuku blushed instantly. I ran. She leaned closer. Way too close. So cool. Steam practically rose off his face. Mirio clapped a hand on Izuku's shoulder. Glad you came. Today's just relaxing, okay? No training, no fighting, no pressure. Tamaki nodded shyly. Yep, just hanging out. Izuku blinked. Relaxing? No training? No danger? That felt illegal. Nijire grabbed Izuku's wrist suddenly. First stop snacks. Before he could react, she dragged him off at full speed. Mirio laughed again. She likes you. Tamaki whispered, horrified. She really likes him. Snack stand. Nijire ordered 5 different desserts. For herself. Then handed one to Izuku. Here. Reward for being cool yesterday. Thank you. She stared at him eating. Very intensely. Mirio leaned toward Tamaki. She's observing him like a rare species. Tamaki whispered back. He is a rare species. Suddenly, danger sense. A sharp electric stab hit Izuku's head. He froze. Nijire tilted her head. HM? What's wrong? Eyes narrowed slightly as he scanned the crowd. Nothing, he said. But inside, something's off. From a rooftop across the plaza, someone was watching them. Nijire tilted her head, eyes sparkling with curiosity as she kept staring at Izuku, like he was the most fascinating thing she'd ever seen. Why are you looking at me like that? He asked nervously. She clasped her hands behind her back and leaned forward slightly. Because you're interesting. You're strong, fast, mysterious, polite, kind of shy, and your aura feels all swirly like energy waves and... Izuku's face turned bright red. I'm not mysterious. Mirio suddenly slid between them with a huge grin. Oh, what's this? Is this chemistry I see? Both of them froze. Nijire blinked. Izuku stopped breathing. Mirio pointed dramatically. Ladies and gentlemen, oh wait, it's just us I present. Blushing boy and curious girl. I'm not blushing. I'm not curious. They stopped. Realized. They said at the same time. Mirio slapped his knee. Ha 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 ha, they even talk in sync. Tamaki covered his face. I want to go home. Nijire puffed her cheeks slightly and crossed her arms. I'm not teasing him. I just like interesting people. Mirio leaned toward Izuku and stage whispered. She says that, but she doesn't stare at me like that. Izuku malfunctioned. You're very interesting too. I mean, you're all interesting, I mean. Steam. Actual steam. Mirio smirked mischievously. Time to escalate. He suddenly grabbed both their wrists and pulled them closer together. All right. New rule for today's hangout. Partners activity. Nijire, what kind? Izuku, partners. Mirio pointed at them. You two are a team. Then he pointed at himself and Tamaki. We're a team. Tamaki whispered. I didn't agree to this. Mirio ignored him. First challenge. Whoever loses has to answer one question honestly. Nijire gasped dramatically. A truth game? I love truth games. Izuku internally. I'm going to die. Mirio clapped once. Challenge is simple. He pointed toward the boardwalk ring toss game stand. Couple round. Silence. Wind blew. Seagull cried. Izuku.exe stopped working. Nijire blinked. Couple round? Mirio nodded innocently. Yep. It's easier if you coordinate with your partner. Communication, teamwork, trust. He leaned in with a grin. Chemistry. Both of them turned red again. Tamaki whispered to Mirio. You're doing this on purpose. Mirio whispered back. Absolutely. Nijire suddenly grabbed Izuku's hand. Okay, partner, let's win. His soul left his body. Yes. Their hands were still holding. Neither noticed. Mirio noticed. Mirio turned away, covering his mouth, shoulders shaking. Tamaki sighed. They're hopeless. And across the street, on the rooftop, that same mysterious watcher narrowed their eyes. So that's him. Wind rustled their cloak. A faint killing intent leaked into the air. Suddenly, rumble. The ground shook hard beneath their feet. The wooden boards of the walkway rattled. Nearby signs clattered. People screamed as the tremor rolled through the street like a passing shockwave. Izuku's head snapped up instantly. That's not normal. Another tremor. Boom. This one stronger. Nijire grabbed Mirio's sleeve. Well, what was that? Tamaki's eyes widened, already scanning rooftops and alleys. Then, a loud explosion cracked through the air. All four of them turned toward the city. Smoke. Thick. Black. Billowing upward. A building several blocks away was on fire, flames bursting from shattered windows as pieces of concrete rained down onto the street below. Civilians were running, some falling, some screaming, others frozen in fear. Izuku's expression changed instantly. No shyness, no awkwardness, no blushing, just focus, fire, structural damage, possible villain attack. Civilians still inside, his fists clenched. Mirio's smile vanished, replaced by sharp determination. That's not an accident. Nijire hovered slightly off the ground, eyes serious now. People are trapped. Tamaki swallowed. We move. Izuku stepped forward. Wind lifted slightly around him. We move. Another explosion burst from the side of the building, flames roaring outward. A silhouette appeared inside the smoke. Large. Shifting. Wrong. Civilians pointed in terror. Villain. The shape inside the fire laughed, a deep, distorted sound echoing through the street. Izuku's eyes sharpened. Big threat. Fire type? Explosion type? Structural hazard level high. Must evacuate first. Green sparks began to flicker faintly along his arms. Mirio glanced sideways at him and grinned. Race you? Izuku nodded once. Rescue priority. Nijire spun midair. I'll handle the top floors. Tamaki inhaled shakily, then steeled himself. I'll support evacuation routes. Another boom shook the street as a chunk of flaming debris crashed down. Izuku bent slightly. Lightning crackled. Full cowling. But before he could launch, the villain's voice roared from inside the burning building. Come out, heroes! Flames blasted outward like a cannon. Heat slammed into them. People screamed. Mirio's grin widened. Oh yeah, he said, cracking his knuckles. This is definitely our kind of afternoon. Izuku's eyes darted across the chaos. Chunks of burning concrete tumbled from above. Steel beams groaned. Windows shattered. Civilians screamed as debris rained down. Mirio, Nijire, and Tamaki had already dashed forward toward the villain. But Izuku stayed, thinking. Falling debris, trajectory, impact, radius, civilians still below. I can't let that hit them. Then, something shifted inside him. A strange lightness. A pull. His feet slowly lifted off the ground. Huh. Dust swirled beneath his shoes. He was floating. Inside his mind, a gentle voice echoed. You finally unlocked it. Nana. Float. Izuku's eyes widened. Seven's quirk. Wind lifted his hair as he rose higher. Across the street, Mirio froze mid-step. Whoa, he's flying. Nijire spun midair, eyes sparkling. Izuku, you can float now. Tamaki blinked rapidly. He unlocked another one. But Izuku didn't answer, because he was already moving. Whoosh. He shot forward through the air, instantly adapting. Same feeling as before. Balance with core. Adjust angle. Control momentum. Green lightning crackled. One for all, full cowling shoot style. Debris plummeted toward trapped civilians below. Izuku thrust his arm forward. Black whip. Dark tendrils exploded outward, latching onto falling slabs of concrete midair. He yanked hard, redirecting their fall path away from the crowd. What is that, kid? Someone shouted. A massive boulder spun toward a group that hadn't escaped yet. Izuku inhaled. Leg tensed. Shoot style. He spun midair. Delaware smash. Boom. Compressed air blasted from his. Flick, shattering the rock into harmless fragments before it could land. Gasps rippled through the street. In seconds, all falling debris had been caught, redirected, or destroyed. Izuku slowly lowered to the side of a cracked wall. Silence. Even the flames seemed quieter for a moment. Then, his gaze lifted, locked, on the villain, standing inside the burning building. Waiting. Izuku's stance shifted. Green lightning intensified. Red veins crept along his leg. 50%. Behind him, his heel tapped the wall repeatedly. Tap, tap, tap. F.A. Gene charge building kinetic stockpile. Mirio whispered from across the street. He's storing energy? Nijire leaned forward midair, stunned. He's getting faster again. Tamaki swallowed. That pressure. Izuku's muscles coiled. Lightning roared. F.A. Gene ready. His eyes sharpened. One strike. He vanished. Boom. The wall behind him shattered from the launch. A shockwave ripped down the street as Izuku rocketed forward like a missile. The villain barely had time to turn. Manchester smash. His leg came down like a falling blade. Crash. Impact. The ground cratered. Flames blasted outward from the shockwave. The villain's body slammed into the street, buried in a smoking crater. Shock spread across every face watching. Mirio, stunned grin. Nijire, sparkling eyes. Tamaki, speechless. Civilians, silent awe. Smoke slowly rose from the crater. Izuku landed lightly nearby, floating, calm, focused. Electricity dancing around him like living lightning. No one spoke. because all of them were thinking the same thing. That kid is insane. Izuku hovered above the crater, the smoke swirling around him. Red veins flared along his legs, green sparks crackling as full cowl 50% surged through his body. He clenched his fists, focusing every ounce of energy and momentum he'd built up. One for all, full cowling shoot style. With a burst of speed, he rocketed forward. His legs shot out in a powerful, precise strike, smashing into the villain's face. Smash! Crack! The villain's head snapped back violently, spinning from the sheer force. Dust and debris exploded outward, rattling the nearby buildings. Civilians froze, staring in disbelief. Mirio's jaw dropped. Nijire's eyes widened, sparkling with shock. Tamaki's hands flew to his mouth. Even from a distance, the sheer control and power in Izuku's strike was undeniable. The villain collapsed, hitting the ground with a heavy thud, bloodied and stunned, but not fully defeated. Smoke and dust hung in the air. Izuku landed lightly nearby, energy still surging through his veins. His chest heaved slightly, but his eyes were sharp, scanning the battlefield. Everyone remained silent for a moment. Then Nijire whispered, awestruck, "He actually did it." Mirio grinned. "Yeah, kid's ridiculous." Tamaki just shook his head. "I can't even comprehend this." Izuku exhaled, muttering to himself, "Keep focus. Don't let up. Protect the civilians." The villain groaned and tried to stir, hinting that the fight wasn't over. Izuku's green sparks intensified. He squared up again, ready to follow up with his next move. Izuku's legs tensed as the villain tried to rise, smoke and dust still swirling around the crater. "Full cowling shoot style," he shouted, the words echoing like a battle cry. With lightning-fast precision, he kicked the villain square in the face. Blood and debris flew, but Izuku didn't stop there. Using his momentum, he grabbed the stunned villain with both hands. Oklahoma smash. Spinning his body with insane speed, a vortex of pressurized air formed around them. The villain had nowhere to resist. The force hurled him helplessly, twisting in midair. Civilians on the street ducked instinctively as the wind roared like a hurricane. Not wasting a second, Izuku tapped into the next move he had mastered in his previous life. His leg rocketed forward mid-spin. New Hampshire smash. He slammed into the villain with the full force of his mass and speed, his leg and fist driving into the enemy like a battering ram. The villain crashed into the ground, smoke and debris exploding outward, a crater forming beneath the impact. Suddenly, the distant roar of engines and the sound of helicopters reached their ears. "Looks like backup has arrived," Mirio muttered, eyes narrowing. From the sky and streets, pro-heroes began arriving. All Might's iconic form glowing even in human size, eyes locked on the battlefield. Ryukyu dragon wings slicing through the air. Lady Nagant precise, gaze scanning the chaos. Rumi Usajiyama fluffing and ready to shield civilians. Endeavor flames roaring along his arms as he lands beside the wreckage. Hawk's wings spread, surveying the scene with keen eyes. The crowd of civilians gasped. Even the Big Three's jaws dropped. Mirio whispered in awe, "Kid, you actually handled all of this before we even arrived." Nijire's eyes sparkled. "Full cowl, he's amazing." Tamaki just muttered, "I can't even believe it." Izuku floated above the battlefield, red veins glowing, green sparks dancing. His focus locked on the villain still struggling in the crater, ready to finish the job, but now, with pro-heroes joining, the situation was stabilizing. He exhaled slowly, letting the adrenaline calm for a moment, eyes flicking to the newly arrived heroes. Izuku hovered above the crater, red veins flaring along his legs, green sparks dancing across his arms. "Full cowling shoot style," he shouted, voice cutting through the smoke and chaos. He launched himself forward, kicking the villain square in the face. The force sent the villain staggering, but Izuku didn't stop. He clenched his fists and focused one for all through his fingers. Delaware smash. A concentrated shockwave shot out from his fingertip, striking the villain with pinpoint precision. Rocks and debris around him exploded harmlessly, scattered by the energy blast. Even the big three and nearby pro heroes froze, watching in awe. Mirio muttered under his breath, "What the?" Nijire's eyes sparkled with amazement. Tamaki, hiding slightly behind her, whispered, "This is mad. Destruction." The villain groaned, staggering but still alive. Izuku didn't give him a chance to recover. He spun his legs, launching the villain with Oklahoma Smash, spinning them in a vortex of pressurized air. Then, midair, Izuku's leg shot out. New Hampshire Smash. The villain slammed into the street, creating a crater and scattering debris. At that moment, the sounds of arrival reached them. Pro heroes descended from the sky and streets. All Might, Ryukyu, Lady Nagant. The civilians gasped. The big three looked stunned. Izuku hovered above, green sparks, and red veins flaring, ready to strike again if needed. But now, with the pros here, the situation was stabilizing at least for the moment. The villain lay defeated in the crater, captured and restrained by the combined efforts of the pro heroes. Flames were slowly being extinguished, and civilians were being escorted to safety by Ryukyu, Rumi, and Hawks. Izuku hovered slightly above the street, still tingling from the full cowling, black whip, and Delaware Smash combo. His chest heaved. Even at 50%, the strain of controlling multiple quirks and his body's new limits weighed heavily. All Might landed beside him, smiling proudly. "Impressive work, Ninth. You kept yourself composed and protected civilians first. That's what a true hero does." Nijire floated down next to him, sparkling with excitement. "You were amazing." Mirio grinned. "Yeah, kid, you really are something else." Tamaki nodded shyly. Izuku exhaled slowly, letting the adrenaline drain. "I need to keep getting stronger, protect people, and control this body even better." Endeavor, hovering nearby with flames still flickering along his arms, turned sharply. "Kid, you've got raw power, but you need proper training and control if you ever want to reach a real pro level. Without a license." Izuku nodded, swallowing hard. "Yeah, I know. I don't have my pro hero license yet, but I'll get there. I need to be able to save people like this, anytime, anywhere." Hawks landed beside him, folding his wings. "Smart kid, but don't overdo it. You've got a long path ahead." All the pro heroes glanced at him, clearly impressed, but also reminded of the rules. Izuku couldn't officially be recognized yet. All Might gave him a reassuring nod. "You did well, young Midoriya. But remember, you must keep your identity and quirks controlled until you're licensed. This is only the beginning." Izuku's gaze swept over the street, civilians safe, the villain in custody, pro heroes handling the aftermath. He nodded silently. As the dust settled and the villain was securely restrained, Lady Nagant stepped closer, her smirk faint but noticeable. She tilted her head, crossing her arms. "Well, you really did a number on him," she said, eyes glinting. "Not many amateurs can handle debris, civilians, and a mid-level villain without breaking a sweat. Impressive." Izuku froze slightly, caught off guard by the unexpected praise. Even Mirio chuckled from behind, clearly noticing the shift in the air. Nijire floated closer, narrowing her eyes at Lady Nagant. "Who's being flirtatious now?" she whispered under her breath. Lady Nagant's smirk deepened. "Just observing, but you, floating around with some black tendrils, plus handling that debris? I'd say you're a very capable young hero. Makes me wonder what else you're hiding." Izuku's face flushed red. "I'm just doing my job," he muttered, trying to focus. All Might stepped in, chuckling. "All right, chills." Lady Nagant only gave a final smirk and stepped back, letting the pros finish securing the scene. Nijire whispered, still blushing slightly. "Okay, she's kind of intimidating, but also kind of..." Izuku exhaled, trying to shake off the heat rising to his cheeks. The smoke cleared. The villain was down, civilians were safe, and the pro heroes were starting to handle the aftermath. Izuku floated down slowly, still catching his breath, red veins flaring faintly along his legs. Lady Nagant stayed a few steps behind, leaning casually against a piece of rubble. Her eyes followed him like she couldn't quite look away. A small smirk tugged at her lips. Well, that was impressive, she said, voice low but teasing. Not many can juggle civilians, falling debris, and a villain all at once. You handled it well. Izuku froze. His brain went static. I thank you, he stammered, trying to sound calm, but failing miserably. Nijire, floating beside Mirio, narrowed her eyes. But does she always talk to you like that? She whispered, a hint of disbelief in her tone. Mirio chuckled, nudging Tamaki. Looks like someone just got noticed, he said with a grin. Lady Nagant tilted her head slightly, watching him adjust his stance. You move well, think fast, and that full cowling stuff? Clean. Efficient. Honestly, I'm curious how far you can really push it. Izuku's cheeks burned hotter. He opened his mouth, then closed it. I do what I can, he muttered, fumbling with his gloves. All Might patted his shoulder, laughing lightly. You hear that, young Midoriya? Even pros notice good work. But remember, stay focused, no matter who's watching. Lady Nagant didn't answer. She just gave him another tiny smirk and silently observed as Izuku and the big three started to walk away. Nijire floated beside him, whispering, I don't mind her, I think. Mirio snorted. Oh, she'll be watching. You can bet on that. Tamaki groaned softly. I can't even catch up like that. Izuku kept walking, trying to focus on the civilians and the scene, but he couldn't shake the feeling of Lady Nagant's eyes following him. Every step, every movement, he knew she was still watching. He clenched his fists lightly, trying to push down the nerves. I can handle it. Focus. That's all that matters. And somewhere in the back of his mind, he knew Lady Nagant wouldn't let him forget this day anytime soon. Nijire was unusually quiet as they walked toward the station. Mirio noticed first. You okay? He asked, tilting his head. I'm fine, she said quickly, too quickly. Her cheeks were a little pink, and she kept glancing ahead at Izuku. A few steps behind them, leaning against a street sign like she had nowhere better to be, Lady Nagant watched the group leave. Her sharp eyes tracked Izuku's every movement, the faintest smile resting on her lips. Floating beside Izuku, Nijire Hado peeked at him again. Why is he so calm after all that? He fought like a pro, saved everyone, and he's just walking like it was nothing. Her fingers fidgeted behind her back. Izuku, meanwhile, was completely clueless. Okay, villain handled. Civilians safe, pros approved, training progress, good stamina. Still needs work. Maybe I should increase my endurance drills tomorrow. Mirio leaned toward Tamaki and whispered. He has no idea, does he? Tamaki shook his head slowly. Not even a little. At the station, they reached the train platform. People bustled around, commuters chatting, announcements echoing overhead. Nijire clasped her hands together. Midoriya. HM. She smiled brightly. Text me when you get home, okay? Just to make sure you didn't collapse or anything. Izuku blinked. Oh, sure. Mirio grinned knowingly. Tamaki looked away, pretending not to notice. In with a rush of wind. See ya, kid, Mirio said, waving. Izuku stepped onto the train, gave a polite nod goodbye, and that's when he felt it. That faint, prickling sensation. Danger sense? No, not danger, just someone watching. Outside, across the platform, Lady Nagant stood half hidden behind a pillar, watching him. On the train, Izuku grabbed a hand strap as the train started moving. He stared out the window, lost in thought, where it felt like someone was staring, probably just nerves. The train rattled along. At the next stop, the doors slid open, and someone stepped in, a familiar figure in a dark coat. Lady Nagant. She didn't look at him directly, didn't speak, just stood a few feet away like any other passenger. But every few seconds, her eyes flicked toward him. Later, outside his home, Izuku stepped off the train, walked down his street, hands in his pockets, humming quietly to himself. The sun was starting to set, painting the sky orange. Behind a utility pole across the road, Lady Nagant watched him walk all the way to his door. He waved to his mom through the window, smiling brightly. She smirked faintly. Cute, she murmured. Then she turned, coat swaying, disappearing into the evening shadows. Inside, Izuku kicked off his shoes, totally unaware. Man, today was productive. Tomorrow I'll push full cowling longer. Outside, unseen, someone was already planning to watch. Night settled quietly over the neighborhood. Inside his room, Izuku was already out cold. He'd fallen asleep sideways across his bed, one arm hanging off the edge, shoes half kicked off like he lost a fight with gravity. His breathing was slow and steady, face relaxed in that peaceful, completely defenseless way only someone truly exhausted could manage. On his desk, his hero notebook lay open, pen still resting between scribbled notes. Increase full cowling duration. Improve FA gene storage timing. Reaction drills versus multi-angle attacks. The desk lamp was still on. Outside his window, a shadow stood on the rooftop across the street. Lady Nagant. She crouched near the ledge, chin resting lightly on her hand, rifle absent for once. She wasn't aiming, wasn't hunting, just watching. He really just crashed, she murmured quietly. Her sharp eyes traced the room. The notes, the training sketches, the All Might posters, the carefully stacked analysis books. Her smirk softened into something quieter, more thoughtful, obsessive, earnest, reckless, and strong. A faint pause. You're interesting, kid. Inside, Izuku shifted in his sleep, mumbling faintly. Full cowling 60%. Nagant blinked once. Then softly, almost amused. He trains, even in his dreams? A light breeze brushed her hair. The city hummed far below, distant sirens and traffic blending into white noise. She stayed there anyway, unmoving, patient. Not guarding, not stalking like a threat, just observing, like she'd found something she didn't quite understand yet. Minutes passed. An hour. The light in his room finally flickered off on a timer. Darkness. Izuku didn't stir once. Nagant stood slowly, coat shifting with emotion. She gave one last glance toward the window. Sleep well, prodigy. Then she stepped back and vanished into the night, unaware of any of it. Izuku slept peacefully, dreaming of training, heroes, and the road ahead. Morning sunlight crept through the curtains. Izuku's eyes snapped open. He sat up instantly, breathing steady but alert. Years of instinct from training and memories from his past life made waking up feel like flipping a switch. He glanced at the clock. 5:02 a.m. Good. Still early. He stretched his arms, joints cracking softly, then clenched his fists. Green sparks flickered faintly. Body condition, 85% recovered. Muscle fatigue, moderate. Output limit today, maybe 55% bursts. He nodded to himself. Time to train. Beach early morning. The shore was quiet except for waves rolling in. Izuku stood barefoot in the sand, hoodie tied around his waist, eyes sharp with focus. All right, he murmured. Today's goal skill development, not power. Wind brushed past him. One for all full cowling, 30%. Green lightning wrapped around his body. Instead of moving, he stayed still. Completely still. A grain of sand slid beneath his foot. He corrected his balance instantly. Stability training. Control first. Output later. Black tendrils suddenly shot out. Black whip. They grabbed scattered trash across the beach without breaking a single piece. He exhaled slowly. Good grip precision improved. Behind him, a voice boomed cheerfully. Excellent control. Young Midoriya. Izuku turned. All Might. Even in his skinny form, his teacher's presence felt huge. All Might smiled proudly. You're not chasing strength. You're refining technique. That's the mark of a true successor. Izuku scratched his cheek shyly. Have power without control is useless. All Might crossed his arms. Then let us test that control. His eyes gleamed. Reaction training. Drill start. All Might suddenly kicked a rock toward Izuku. Fast. Izuku didn't move his feet. His hand snapped out. Black whip caught at midair. Another rock. Another. Another. Soon they were flying from every angle. Izuku's eyes sharpened. Whip. Grab. Release. Catch. Redirect. Sand swirled around him from the speed of motion. All Might's smile widened. His reaction speed, it's improving faster than I expected. Suddenly, All Might lunged. Izuku's eyes widened. Close combat. He twisted. Shoot style. His leg blocked All Might's strike cleanly. Impact echoed. Neither moved. For a split second, they were frozen in a clash of strength and technique. Then, Izuku grinned. Got you. Black Whip shot from behind his back, wrapping lightly around All Might's wrist. Not tight, just controlled. All Might blinked. You restrained me without hurting me. Izuku nodded. Capture training. Not every fight should end with a smash. Silence. Then, All Might laughed. Ha ha. Splendid. He placed a hand on Izuku's shoulder. You're not just getting stronger, you're becoming smarter in battle. Izuku smiled softly. I still have far to go. New training goal. All Might suddenly raised a finger. Next objective. Core combination flow. Izuku tilted his head. Flow. Yes. Right now, you switch between abilities. I want you to chain them seamlessly. No pauses. No delay. Like breathing. Izuku's eyes lit up. A combo system. All Might pointed dramatically. Exactly. Wind picked up. Sand lifted. Izuku stepped back, stance lowering. Green lightning sparked. Black Whip twitched. Muscles tightened. Okay, he said quietly. Let's develop it. Rooftop far away. A figure watched from a distant. Building. Silent. Observing. A faint smirk. He really doesn't stop improving. She adjusted her stance slightly, eyes focused. Show me more, kid. Back on the beach. Izuku inhaled. Energy built in his legs. Fa Gene stored power. Black Whip tightened. Full cowling surged. His eyes sharpened. Ready. All Might grinned. Come. Boom. Sand exploded as Izuku launched forward. Training had officially begun. Izuku steadied his breathing, eyes locked forward. Sand drifted beneath his feet as he slowly lifted off the ground. Not a jump, not a leap. Floating. A small smile tugged at his lips. Okay, float is stable now. A few meters away, All Might watched with wide, impressed eyes. To think you can already maintain aerial balance. Izuku didn't answer. He was focused. Green lightning flickered. Black Whip twitched behind him like a tail ready to spring. Mid-air training. Izuku raised 2 fingers. Delaware smash. Flick. A compressed air blast fired behind him. Boom. His body shot forward through the air like a bullet. Wind roared past his ears. Speed gained. His eyes sharpened. Now Fa Gene. His muscles compressed. Stored. Compressed again. Stored more. The kinetic energy built inside his limbs like a coiled spring ready to snap. Stack it, don't release yet. All Might's smile slowly faded into stunned silence. He's storing energy mid-flight. Izuku twisted his body sideways midair, stabilizing his spin with float. Another finger flick. Delaware smash. Air burst again. He accelerated. Faster. Faster. The air around him started to ripple. His hoodie strings snapped wildly in the wind. Release. Izuku's eyes flashed. Fa Gene release. Hum. The stored kinetic force detonated through his body. His speed exploded. He vanished from where he was and reappeared 50 meters away above the ocean. All Might's jaw dropped. He combined propulsion acceleration and stored kinetic force. Izuku hovered, breathing hard but grinning. That worked. He looked at his hands. Delaware smash for propulsion float, for control, Fa Gene for burst acceleration. He clenched his fist. That's a combo. Behind him. Boom. All Might landed beside him in a burst of sand. Young Midoriya. Izuku turned. All Might's expression was serious now. Proud but serious. You didn't just use your quirks. He pointed at him. You engineered them. Izuku blinked. Engineered? Yes. All Might smiled. You just created a new combat movement system. Izuku's eyes widened slightly. Wind blew past them. Then, a small determined grin appeared. I should name it. Skill log new technique unfinished. Propulsion Delaware smash. Stabilizer float. Burst Fa Gene. Core full cowling. Working name. Air burst combo system. Izuku scratched his cheek. Okay, that name's kinda lame. I'll think of something cooler later. All Might laughed loudly. Ha! Even naming moves takes training. Far away, watching from a rooftop, a certain sniper narrowed her eyes slightly. He's evolving mid-practice. Her smirk returned. You really are fun to watch, kid. Back to training. Izuku floated higher. Higher. Wind whipping around him now. He lowered into a midair stance. Again, green lightning flared. Delaware smash. Boom. He shot forward. F.A. Energy stored. Full cowling 45%. Power surged. His body streaked across the sky like a green comet. Below, All Might shaded his eyes, staring up. At this rate, a proud smile spread across his face. He might surpass me sooner than I thought. His floating skill has already surpassed Nana-sensei. Wind rolled across the empty training ground. A reinforced combat dummy stood planted in the sand, metal frame reinforced, impact plates layered across its body. Scorch marks and dents already covered it from Izuku's earlier tests. Izuku stood a few meters away, breathing slow, eyes sharp. Blue light flickered faintly around his arms. Okay, this is the gear shift combo. The second showed me the one used against Tamura Shigaraki. He lowered his stance. Green lightning crackled. Blue aura ignited. F.A. energy coiled in his legs like compressed springs. Gear shift drill, transmission sequence. Izuku bent his knees, then launched himself straight upward. Boom! Sand exploded beneath him. Midair, his body tilted forward, one hand slicing downward like grabbing an invisible lever. His right arm dropped. His left hand grabbed his wrist. Like gripping a gear stick, he pulled. Low gear. The blue aura snapped tighter around his body. His speed instantly stabilized. Not faster. Controlled. Precise. He landed lightly. No recoil. No stumble. Perfect balance. His eyes sharpened. Second transmission. He yanked his arm again like shifting gears. Boom. His body surged forward. Faster than a blink. Hit. His fist struck the dummy's chest. Shock wave burst outward. Second gear. He twisted his hips. F.A. releasing slightly. Pulled the invisible gear again. Third gear. Bang. Second punch. The impact dented the steel plate. The air cracked. His eyes glowed faint blue now. Wind spiraled around him. One more pull. Harder. Stronger. Top gear. Boom. Third strike. The dummy lifted off the ground. Sand blasted outward in a ring. The air shrieked from speed. Izuku vanished. Appeared above the airborne dummy. Leg pull back. F.A. fully charged. Gear shift. Overdrive. Blue aura flared violently. Green lightning roared. The ground below cratered from pressure alone. Final strike. Izuku's arm pulled back. Muscles tightened. Every quirk aligned. Full cowling core power. F.A. stored energy. Gear shift, acceleration. Midair float balance. His eyes locked on target. Detroit. Time felt slow. Wind stopped. Heartbeat steady. Smash. Crash. His punch hit. A shockwave detonated like a cannon blast. The dummy shot downward. Boom. It slammed into the ground so hard the sand split open like cracked glass. Silence followed. Dust drifted. Metal creaked. The dummy lay half-buried, completely destroyed. Izuku landed lightly, breathing hard. Steam rose from his arms. Okay, he panted. He looked at his shaking hand. That's strong. Behind him, All Might stared with his mouth slightly open. Young Midoriya. Pause. That wasn't a training strike. Izuku rubbed the back of his neck sheepishly. I might have used a little too much. All Might pointed dramatically at the crater. That was not a little. Skill log update. Gear shift mastery stage 1 achieved. Unlocked. Low gear stabilization. Sequential acceleration strikes. Overdrive burst mode. Smash amplification. Limitations. Heavy arm strain. Cancel by 1 for all enhanced musculature perk. Nervous system fatigue. Cancel by 1 for all neural acceleration perk. Time limit before recoil. Recovery 30 SEC. 1 minute. Drawbacks during use. Breathing difficulty. Cancel by 1 for all enhanced lungs perk. Cellular damage. Cancel by 1 for all cellular improvement perk. Immense recoil from ignoring inertia. Cancel by 1 for all cellular reinforcement perk. Require recoil recovery. However, it is shorter than Pervious Life. Izuku clenched his fist again, eyes focused. If I can chain this smoothly. A determined smile appeared. I can go even faster. Wind swept past him. Dust still drifted from the shattered ground. Izuku stood in the crater's center, chest rising and falling, faint sparks of green and blue crackling off his arms. The destroyed training dummy smoked at his feet. He looked at his fist. Okay, that was overdrive Detroit smash. He exhaled slowly. Then the next step is... His eyes sharpened. Detroit smash quintuple. Quintuple smash training attempt. He stepped back, closed his eyes, focused. Inside his body, FA gene energy coiled. Gearshift hummed. Full cowling surged. Float stabilized. Everything aligned. Izuku whispered. Low gear. Blue aura tightened. He bent his knees. Second. Power rose. Third. Wind spiraled. Top. The air vibrated. His eyes snapped open. Go. Impact sequence. He vanished. Hit. First punch slammed into a reinforced bear dummy. All might have dragged out. 1. Hit. Second punch struck before the first shockwave faded. 2. Hit. Third punch dented the chest plate inward. 3. The air screamed. All Might's cape whipped violently from the shockwaves. Izuku's arms blurred. FA gene stored more energy with each strike. 4. The ground cracked. Blue lightning flared brighter. Final pull. 5. Detroit smash quintuple. Boom. The dummy exploded backward like it had been hit by a missile, skidding across the sand for 50 meters before flipping and crashing upside down. Silence. Wind rolled through the crater. Izuku landed on one knee, breathing hard. His arm trembled violently. Okay, recoil's worse with rapid hits. Behind him, All Might whispered in awe. He stacked acceleration between strikes. He swallowed. He's multiplying impact, speed, every punch. Unseen observer. High above, on a distant rooftop, a rifle rested against a shoulder. Not aimed, just resting. Watching. Lady Nagant lowered the scope slowly. Her eyes lingered on Izuku. Not calculating, not analyzing, just watching. 5 hits, she murmured. A faint smile formed, each faster than the last. She tilted her head slightly, studying the way he shook out his arm, the way he muttered notes to himself, the way he immediately started analyzing his own mistake instead of celebrating. Her voice softened. You don't even realize how amazing you are, do you? A breeze lifted her hair. She didn't move, didn't step forward, didn't reveal herself. Not yet, not ready to interrupt. Back on the beach, Izuku flexed his fingers. Need better recoil resistance. He glanced at All Might. Sensei, I think if I reinforce my arm timing with black whip tension, I can reduce strain. All Might stared. You just invented a 5-hit speed stacking smash. Pause. And you're already optimizing it? Izuku tilted his head. Isn't that normal? All Might laughed helplessly. Ha! You truly are something else, young Midoriya. Above them, Nagant's smile grew just a little. Yeah, she whispered. You really are. She stepped back into the shadows. Still unseen. Still watching. Still interested. Wind swept across the training ground again, carrying sand in slow spirals. Izuku stood still in the center of the crater he'd made, breathing steady now, mind already moving on to the next technique. Power is good, he murmured, but capture control is better. Behind him, All Might crossed his arms curiously. Oh, another idea, young Midoriya? Izuku nodded. Green sparks flickered. Then, Black Whip. Dark tendrils burst from his back and arms. But this time, they didn't lash wildly. They braided. Black Whip scarf form. The tendrils wrapped around his neck smoothly, layering over each other until they formed a long, flowing black scarf that trailed behind him like cloth. It fluttered in the wind. Not violent. Controlled. Elegant. All Might's eyes widened slightly. You condensed it. Izuku tugged the scarf lightly. Compression form, he explained. Less surface area. More durability. Faster deployment. He pulled the scarf over the lower half of his face. Only his eyes showed now. Focused. Sharp. Hero-like. New technique black chain. Izuku crouched slightly. FA gene energy began building in his legs. Black Whip scarf twitched. Let's test it. He flicked his arm forward. The scarf unraveled instantly. Snap. A thick, reinforced whip shot out, then split, then twisted, then locked together. Clank! It hardened into a chain-like structure made of interwoven black whip strands. All Might blinked. He turned energy into structure. Izuku whispered, "Fa-gene reinforce." Energy surged through the chain. It thickened, darkened, stabilized. Now it didn't look like a whip. It looked like a weaponized capture chain. Test target. All Might pointed at a massive concrete slab sitting nearby. That should suffice. Izuku nodded. He swung the chain. Whip clang. It wrapped around the slab instantly. Grip tightened. Sand cracked beneath it. Izuku's stance lowered. Muscles tightened. Pull. Hum. The slab ripped out of the ground like it weighed nothing. All Might's jaw dropped. He's using Fa-gene as a power amplifier through Black Whip. Izuku spun once, then hurled the slab. Boom. It launched across the beach and crashed far into the ocean with a distant splash. Silence. Wind. Drifting sand. Izuku blinked. Okay, that worked better than expected. Combat analysis mode. He looked at his hand, thinking aloud. Capture, restrain, throw. Range advantage. Crowd control. Non-lethal option. His eyes lit up. This is perfect for villain suppression. All Might smiled proudly. You're thinking like a rescue combat hybrid hero. Izuku scratched his cheek. I just want the safest way to win fights. Hidden observer. Far above, on a distant rooftop, a certain sniper lowered her gaze slightly. Her expression wasn't amused anymore. It was impressed. He turned a mobility quirk into a capture weapon. A small breath left her. You're dangerous in a completely different way than power types. Her fingers rested lightly against the metal of her rifle, and you don't even realize it. She didn't step out, didn't speak, didn't interrupt. She just kept watching. Technique registered. Black Whip technique, black chain. Functions. Restrain targets. Reinforce with Fa-gene. Throw opponents long distance. Defensive shield potential. Midair grappling. Option. Style bonus. Scarf form equals concealment plus instant deployment. Back on the beach, Izuku lifted his scarf again, letting it drape around his neck. I should test this against a moving target next. All Might grinned. Splendid idea. His eyes gleamed, because that's exactly what we're doing next. Izuku rolled his shoulders once, the black whip scarf resting around his neck like a living cloak. The tendrils twitched slightly, reacting to his focus. Across the sand, All Might stretched his arms. Very well, young Midoriya, he said with a grin. You wanted a moving target. His eyes flashed. Then catch me. Moving target drill began. Before Izuku could answer, whoosh, All Might vanished. Sand exploded where he'd been standing. Izuku's pupils shrank. Fast. A pressure shift. Left side. Izuku snapped his arm out. Black chain. The scarf shot forward, but grabbed air. A blur passed behind him. All Might's voice boomed. Too slow. Izuku pivoted instantly. Full cowling 35%. Green lightning flared. His body blurred. He dashed sideways. A shockwave blasted past where his head had been. He's circling me. Izuku inhaled. Don't chase. Predict. Strategy shift. He closed his eyes. Listened. Wind. Footsteps. Sand displacement. Pressure waves. There. Right. Behind. His eyes snapped open. Got you. He didn't turn. He swung backward blindly. Black chain. The chain lashed out. Clank. Wrapped around something solid. All Might's arm. The symbol of peace blinked. Oh. Izuku pulled. Hard. Fa-gene activated. The chain tightened. Sand split beneath All Might's boots as he got yanked forward. Izuku spun, using the momentum. Release. He hurled All Might skyward. Boom. All Might flipped midair, laughing. Excellent prediction. Aerial phase. Izuku bent his knees. Float. He rose instantly. Wind whipped around him. All Might descended fast. Izuku flicked his fingers. Delaware smash. Air blast. He launched upward like a rocket. Midair. Face to face. All Might grinned. Izuku smirked. All Might swung. Izuku whispered. Low gear. Time seemed to slow. His body shifted just enough. The punch missed by a centimeter. He grabbed All Might's cape. Black chain. It wrapped instantly. Fa gene. Energy surged. Izuku twisted midair. Throw. Hum. All Might got launched downward like a meteor. He landed in a crouch. Boom. Sand exploded outward. When the dust cleared, he was smiling. Wide. Proud. Drill end. All Might stood up slowly, brushing sand off his shoulder. Young Midoriya. He chuckled. You didn't just react. He pointed. You controlled the battlefield. Izuku rubbed the back of his neck. I just combined prediction with restraint tactics. All Might laughed. Just he says. Hidden rooftop. Far away. A pair of sharp eyes watched every second. Lady Nagant rested her chin on her hand. He caught All Might. A faint, impressed exhale. You're not normal, kid. Her gaze softened slightly. Not even close. She didn't step forward. Didn't interrupt. She just stayed. Watching. Skill result. Moving target capture test success. Improvements. Prediction timing increased. Black chain accuracy improved. Midair combat control improved. Gear shift reaction integration stable. Unlocked insight. Izuku excels more at adaptive combat than raw offense. Back on the beach, Izuku clenched his fist. Again, All Might grinned like a proud teacher. Huh, that's the spirit. Izuku took one step forward, and his knees nearly gave out. The green lightning around his body flickered, then faded. His breathing turned uneven, not sharp, not panicked, just heavy. The delayed fatigue finally hit. Exhaustion crash. His arm trembled first, then his legs, then everything. Gear shift Fa gene, full, cowling black whip float. His body had been running 6 quirks at once. Even with his experience, this body was still catching up. He staggered. All Might's smile vanished instantly. Young Midoriya. Before he could finish, Izuku dropped to one knee. Sand puffed around him. Ha! He wiped sweat off his chin. Guess that's my limit today. All Might walked over, slower now, voice gentle instead of booming. You pushed too many systems simultaneously. He crouched beside him. Power isn't what makes a hero great. He tapped Izuku's chest. Longevity is. Izuku laughed weakly. Yeah, I kind of went all out. His arms were still shaking from recoil strain. Muscles twitching from gear shift stress. Nervous system overloaded from rapid acceleration changes. Note to self, don't stack overdrive, plus quintuple plus chain, throw in one session. All Might placed a firm hand on his shoulder. You did magnificently. Izuku looked up. All Might smiled proudly. But even greatness needs rest. A breeze passed. The beach was quiet now. No explosions. No shockwaves. Just waves rolling on a shore. Izuku slowly leaned back into the sand. 5 minutes, he muttered. I'll get up in 5 minutes. All Might chuckled. You said that 10 minutes ago during the last break. This time I mean it. Rooftop distance away. Watching silently. Lady Nagant tilted her head. Her sharp gaze softened slightly. You overwork yourself. She exhaled faintly. Idiot. But there was no insult in it. Only quiet concern. She adjusted her coat. Didn't leave. Still watching. Beach. Izuku stared up at the sky. Clouds drifted slowly overhead. Sensei. Yes. Do you think I'm improving fast enough? All Might didn't hesitate. You're improving faster than anyone I've ever seen. Pause. But speed isn't your greatest talent. Izuku blinked. It isn't? All Might smiled warmly. No. He pointed at him. Your greatest strength. A proud gleam filled his eyes. Is how seriously you take becoming better. Izuku stared at the sky, quietly. A small smile appeared. Good. His eyes closed. That means I can still grow. Within seconds, he fell asleep. Right there in the sand. All Might chuckled softly. Rest well, my successor. Far away. Nagant watched the boy sleeping on the beach after pushing himself past exhaustion. Her voice barely a whisper. You really are? A pause. Something else. She stayed until the sun began to dip lower. Just watching. The sound reached him before he even opened his eyes. Buzz. Buzz. Izuku groaned softly, face still half buried in the sand. MMGH. His hand fumbled blindly across the ground until his fingers touched his phone. He squinted one eye open. Incoming call Nijire. His brain froze. Eh. The phone kept vibrating. Buzz. He shot upright instantly. Wait. He scrambled to answer and nearly dropped it. Hello. On the other end. Bright, energetic voice. Hi, Izuku. He winced slightly at the volume, pulling the phone away from his ear. I was calling you for like 5 minutes. She continued. You sleeping? Did you faint? Did you get kidnapped? Were you training again? Did you eat? Did you drink water? Are you alive? Izuku blinked rapidly. I'm alive. Oh, good. He rubbed the back of his neck sheepishly as he stood up, brushing sand off his clothes. Sorry, I kind of passed out after training. A pause. Then softer. You pushed yourself too hard again, didn't you? Izuku froze slightly. How'd he know? A tiny proud hum came through the phone. I can tell. He started walking home slowly, shoes crunching on pavement. Well, yeah, I was testing new moves. Her voice lit up instantly. New moves? What kind? Fast ones? Big ones? Flashy ones? Izuku laughed nervously. All of the above. On a rooftop nearby, hidden from sight. Nijire Hato leaned forward slightly, smiling as she listened through her phone. Below her, Izuku walked completely unaware she was actually nearby. You sound tired, she said gently. He smiled faintly. Yeah, but it's a good tired. Wind brushed past him as he walked. The sunset painted the street gold. Nijire? Why'd you call? A tiny pause. Then, I just wanted to hear your voice. Izuku stopped walking. Face red instantly. Oh, up above, Nijire covered her mouth, giggling quietly to herself. He's so easy to fluster. Down below, Izuku stared at the ground, cheeks warm. Thanks. Silence for a second. Comfortable silence. Then, so what are you doing now? She asked. Walking home. Oh, pause. I'm nearby. Izuku blinked. Wait, what? Above him. Nijire leaned over the edge of the rooftop, upside down, smiling brightly. Hi. Izuku slowly tilted his head up. Eyes widened. Huh. Somewhere far away, watching from another rooftop. A certain sniper narrowed her eyes slightly. Not annoyed, just observing. So she showed up first. Back on the street, Izuku stared up at Nijire, brain buffering. You were here the whole time. She nodded happily. MHM. Since when? Since you were drooling in your sleep. I was not. You were. He froze, face turning red again. She giggled. The evening breeze drifted between them. Izuku scratched his cheek awkwardly. You could have woken me up. Nijire tilted her head. You look peaceful. He didn't know what to say to that. So he just stood there, red, speechless. Above, Nijire smiled softly. He really is cute. Izuku shifted awkwardly under her gaze. I should probably head home before I collapse again. Nijire clasped her hands behind her back and rocked on her heels. Okay, don't faint on the sidewalk, though. That'd be embarrassing paperwork for the heroes who find you. I don't faint that much. She gave him a look. You fainted twice this week. I'm leaving now. She giggled. He turned and started down the street, hands tucked into his hoodie pockets, shoulders still sore from training. The quiet evening wrapped around him like a blanket. Streetlights flickered on one by one. Behind him, Nijire watched until he disappeared around the corner. Her smile softened. He really is trying his hardest. With a small hop, she lifted off the rooftop and drifted away into the dusk. Later outside Izuku's apartment, the door clicked open. Izuku Midoriya stepped inside quietly. I'm home. No answer. His mom was probably out shopping. He slipped off his shoes, staggered 2 steps forward, and immediately collapsed face first onto his bed. Just 5 minutes. Silence. Clock ticking. Curtains swaying. Outside his window. Across the street. On a shadowed rooftop. A rifle scope glinted faintly in the fading sunlight. A calm voice murmured to herself. So that's where you live. Lady Nagant lowered the scope slightly, studying him through the glass. No hostility. No killing intent. Just curiosity. Her finger rested near the trigger out of habit, but she didn't aim. You overwork yourself, she muttered quietly. Reckless kid. She leaned back against the wall, arms folding, watching. Inside the room, Izuku shifted in his sleep, his breathing slow, peaceful, completely unaware. Nagant exhaled softly. You wouldn't survive long in the real underground world like that. A pause. Good thing I'm here. She blinked once, realizing what she just said. TCH. She looked away. Inside, Izuku mumbled in his sleep. I'll get stronger. Nagant's eyes flicked back to him. Silence. Then the faintest smirk. Yeah, I can see that. She stayed, watching, guarding, without admitting it. So, this was the end of part 1 of this series. Stay tuned for next part of this series, and if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time,